Righty. I think I checked everything. Whoa, I didn't.
Okay.
Frick.
Uh-oh.
Yep. All right. It's all right. Hope it should be okay. Shouldn't affect anything. Let's check this. It's good. It's good. It's good. All right. Should be going. Hey, Kung Fu. Did you get my email finally from Chuck? And can you hear me?
Hopefully they can hear us.
Yeah, hopefully. If not, it's early enough I can restart things real quick if I have to.
Yeah.
Voice check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I know you can. All right, good.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Wi-Fi.
Like to hear it. Hey, Greg, what's going on? Woo! Good, man. Lots of cool things going on. Which is always a good thing. Yeah, well, that's good because Joe puts out some great stuff. I'm just waiting for Joe to come on. Should be on. He liked all the posts, so I know he's. We talked. He should be on any minute.
Yep.
Yep. Finishing up another week. This is light. This is only 3. Next 3 weeks are 4 streams minimum each. We still got a week from Friday. We got to figure out what fancy mapping show.
Yeah, I have an opening on that. I think we can get a guest. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to try for Eric or Nansen or who do you think?
Well, we have Canosas and
okay.
Canosas. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, great.
They're doing a cartography software. We'll try with them first. But
okay, sounds good.
Otherwise, Eric is yeah. We need to have Eric too, but then
yeah, we're just we're letting Ed lie for a while, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's up to him.
Hey, hey, Taryn.
Hello.
Taryn's on before Mike. Wow. Cool. Good to see you. Huh. Let's see what we got here. Let's do this. Yo, yo, yo. Mike's out. Well, good to hear it. Mike's party. had a nice weekend. This is the kind of weekends I hate because now I got to go back to work and work a full 5 days.
Uh-oh.
You know, it's like, oh. What's going on, GD? Justinius, good to see you both. What's going on? Hey, Sparky, good to see you, man. It's been a little while. So busy I haven't had time to pounce on all my sponsors like I need new vids. I say that so many times, but I really do. Give me new vids. Joe emailed me some goodies for tonight, which is nice. Yep. That's all right, man. Good to hear that. We're rocking and rolling like normal. 4-stream week coming up with a really cool Saturday night special this week with 2 brand new players never played in my game. One's a full Twitch partner, and the other one is very popular with the Troller Games community. They're both playing. So we get the right announcement here. We're coming on our first. Yeah, it's gonna be a neat twist too. Coming on our first subscribers for 4 years, coming up tonight this month. First ones that have had 48 months. Oh my God, it's been that long, Anna. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Alright, so let me hit I wonder if I just want to make sure that I'm not messing up my. There he comes. I was like, is my Zoom like it's not? Sometimes it pops up top, sometimes it's in the corner. It's annoying. It's so annoying. Wherever. Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good. How you doing?
Very good.
Just in Preludes here. We'll be live in a couple minutes.
Yeah. Thank you for the heraldry. Awesome. And thank you for alerting me. That was great.
Thank you. It looks really great in the article.
Cool. Yep.
Very cool.
Yep. It's good that the heraldry being used. I love it. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, eventually I'll go through most of it, I think. The idea to do I'm doing an Armies of Greyhawk thing.
That's awesome.
So within the Dragon magazine thing that I do.
Right.
So, I'll be going region by region.
Yeah.
Wow, Megalonic. You gifted a tier 2 sub. Wow. Awesome. That was very kind of you. Wow. Nice. We may head up a hype train within the next couple of minutes here already. Wow. That was very, very nice of you. So we had Carlos on last week talking about Shokanth, or as when Luke was on, Shajkanth, I think is the way to pronounce it, right, Anna? Shajkanth? Shajkanth.
Yeah, something Shajkanth.
I butchered it. Even Carlos butchered it.
I butcher it too. Don't listen to me on anything pronunciation-wise.
Oh, thanks, Taryn.
Is there a place I can go to view the comments and chat and stuff?
Twitch. Yeah, Twitch TV, and then you just want to pull that out. Right? Anna can explain it real quick.
Exactly. Yeah. If you go to Lord Twitch/Lord Guzumba.
Yeah.
And then when you get into the channel, first mute the sound, and then when you have the chat, there's a little cogwheel down at the chat. Then you can pop out the chat in the little window.
Yeah,
then
you turn off the vid, because the vid here is live. What you see on my screen is live, so you can maximize my screen.
Yeah, and then you can have the chat.
Yeah, I know you're in there. I'm almost positive you're under Greyhawk Rodner, and I think I VIP.
Yeah, I just entered now, and I just did that.
Yeah.
And I click on Wall of Fame. That's live.
There goes our hype train. Hype train already! We've got some good giveaways tonight too from Patrick. I mean, exactly what we're talking about tonight. And we're already at level 2. Troy. Thanks, Troy. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, everyone. Let me flip this over here so we're live. So get this all rolling here with this monster hype train. So we'll do with all this. We're doing 2 giveaways tonight, which is great. So I'll get that all set up. But good evening, I'm JK Lord Gazumba for another Wall of Fame deep dive. And with me, as always, my partner, crime, Anna Meyer, and tonight, very special guest, Greyhawk Rognard himself, Joe Bloch. Welcome, Joe.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
That's good. I love that. Love it having you on. It's always been a wonderful insight you bring, and the data and details. It's fantastic. Yes, Sparky says, and wouldn't miss Joe Bloch on here. That's good. Good to hear, Sparky. We got people still rolling in. But let me do a real quick. What would be the word? Let me get this giveaway put up there, and it'll be a double. Oh, you know what? Oh, crap. That's gonna probably say the wrong thing here. Yeah, it still says Reaper Miniatures. Yeah, dummy me. Yeah. So see, and there's always one little freaking thing I always forget. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Give me 10 seconds here. Classic D&D reprint.
I can't blame you. Twitch is hard. Friday crashed and burned immediately for me, so it was something. I don't know really what went wrong, and might be we don't know, because I tested the bandwidth and everything worked. So I will see. I'll have to test again. It's
strange, isn't it? I mean, sometimes you just don't
twice.
know.
Yeah, it happened twice.
Yeah. Hey, El Presidente, thank you. So we'll be doing this first. Here we go. All courtesy of Patrick. G1 through 3, D1 to 2, D3 and Q1, all in reprints.
Wow.
I like the originals, Joe.
I can only brag about with this.
Yeah.
So, yep.
These in reprints, 2 each. First one will get their choice of 2. Yeah. My collection is a little beat up.
I think I have the G1 to 3.
Look at this. It is beat up.
I have a couple of them in old prints.
Not in bad shape. Queen of Spiders.
I have the Giants, the Giants collection. Yeah, that one. I have that one as well somewhere.
I have D2. Here. Actually, I have D2 coming. I had the originals, and I have a D3 on the wall. This is actually one I got a couple years ago. So, but yeah, it's this is going to be a great discussion. So I'm going to ask a question right off the bat to Joe, and see what he thinks.
Oh dear.
In the Gary Hooley and Eric Mona Dungeon article, top 30 of all time, right? If you remember that. This was rated number 1. Now, I argue that it's 7 adventures stuffed into 1, right? Is this the greatest D&D publication from TSR / Wizards of all time?
Nope.
Okay.
It's good. It's up there. Believe me, I wouldn't have spent years going through it on my blog and stuff, but no, I don't think it's the best, especially in that version. Because remember, this is not just these. They added new material and they changed stuff around, and so you got to take that into account, because every time they mention giants, they have to reprint these modules, and they keep them into.
Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot my Silver Anniversary one too. I left that in the Silver Anniversary box.
Yep.
Which, there you go.
There you go.
That one I forgot. That's downstairs. All right.
Maybe I have that one.
What's your opinion on the best one?
I've got to go with Village of Hamlet.
Okay, so how about T1? Just Village of Hamlet, or
just Village of Hamlet?
Okay,
as the best. It's the best starting zone.
To
use the video game chatter that's ever been done. And I think they kind of dropped the ball when they actually fleshed out the temple for a lot of reasons. But that's not what. But
okay, so. Mike Celestian brings up a great point about they dropped it with Q1 a little bit, but I think tonight we may have something that tries to fix it, right? 10 seconds. We'll bring that back up later on. There you go. Whoops. Okay, so something from Joe. So we wanted to go in and deep dive these adventures, and when you're a kid playing these, and it's high level. Right, you're starting like giants. If you're under 7th, you're going to get destroyed. So 7th, 8th, 9th, that's where you're really starting with these. So, hey, Prespos, thank you. These are like ingrained into my brain all the way through, and how long these took, going from hill giants to the oh my gosh, the Remoraz in the middle of G2, all the way to the Dark Elves in G3, and it's just all the way through. It's a long, long series. But then again, you couldn't run it all, because I think, didn't Q1 come out in 81? 80. It came out in 80. So in the you couldn't still run it for 2 years.
Right. There was a gap, just like there was a gap between T1 and T1 through 4.
Yeah. That was like 7 years, wasn't it? That one?
That was intolerable.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a gap between this and Q1, and it showed, it didn't have the same continuity that the same flow that you saw between the first 6 modules.
That's so true.
And a big part of that was obviously behind the scenes, Gary Gygax had, kind of dropped it, and he was off doing whatever he was doing. And the people who took it up, they had their own ideas about what to do, and they didn't really have, in my opinion, a complete understanding of the modules that preceded it. There was no mention, for example, of the Elder Elemental God, which was supposedly the entire impetus for the entire 6-module campaign, and it's just never mentioned in Q1. So there's, it's a flawed capstone to an otherwise really great series of modules.
Great point that it is there in G3 and in D3. D3 they kind of even just, they say, oh, it's the same as in G3. They don't really describe it in D3,
right?
But they say it's the same. We don't need to put it down again, but
well, D3 skimmed on a lot of the details, and that was on purpose on their part, because you're talking about an entire city, you're talking about dozens of estates, and then you got the merchant houses have their own thing. It would have been a phone book if they had tried to actually detail everything.
That is true. How many pages is it? Does it pass 30? It's not like the original Giants. And this is the funny thing. Jason Zavoda would always say, for being 8 pages long or 9 pages long, G1 is really fantastic. Right. And we always heard that. 25 counting the monsters in the back. So it's not a large. They're still not large adventures. Not like a Carlos publication with 75 pages. But they were fantastic, and they get ingrained in your memory. And and we've done this on multiple shows, Joe. As a matter of fact, with Ed, when Ed comes on, Ed Greenwood, that when you look at the D3 Drow and the Menzo Barons and Drow, they're just not the same. Just not even close. It's just everyone's dual wielding. There's bucklers. The buckler itself has disappeared, and they're major psionists, and you have to kill all the people. The Ari Salvatore stuff. Kill them all, or you're going to get wiped out yourself. Just bizarre stuff. But
well, there are a lot of tonal differences between Forgotten Realms and Greyhawk to begin with, and so that's just, you're going to see that same sort of difference in just about any straight on comparison between, Greyhawk and the realms. Look, for example, at like Draco Liches in the Forgotten Realms compared to that one undead dragon in that they mention in White Plume Mountain,
right?
And got fleshed out late, years later. It's just a very tonally different campaign setting, which I think a lot of people also kind of miss out on when they just look at the superficial stuff. But you're entirely right. The Drow of Menzo Moranzan are not the same as the Drow in Errol High Kindlin.
You can just sense that the Forgotten Realms, they base it on, meaning the idea comes from the Greyhawk Drow.
Right.
You can tell it's a development, so to speak, or they took the idea and then ran with it in a direction.
Ran screaming with his hands flapped out.
Yeah,
trying to do it.
Well, I'm assuming that a lot of that was they let R.A. Salvatore go in the direction. I don't think Ed had a lot to do with that.
From what I've read, the whole R.A. Salvatore thing, Drizzt was like just supposed to be. They wanted just another supporting character. The star was supposed to be that barbarian guy.
Right, Wolfgar.
and then that didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
That's so
well,
true.
they got a lot of books sold on it, so I guess they can't be disappointed.
Yeah, there's no arguing with selling hundreds of thousands of books.
Yep.
So Anna, as far as your I know you don't run a lot of modules, but what are your experiences with these series of
Well, I like them, and not so much exactly like you said, it's not modules that I've run, but I'm interested in them because they set the tone for various parts of Greyhawk, and I'm kind of interested because it's a very geographically dispersed modules, so to speak, especially if you talk about the whole thing at the end when they wrapped it all up, meaning we cover several different areas of Greyhawk with kind of different, thematically very different, from the Underdark to up in the mountains and stuff like that. So I really like, there's a lot of stuff here that sets the tone for Greyhawk in various things, meaning we have drow giants and stuff that really become part of Greyhawk legend forever, so to speak, and that I think we need to be very humble about it and say it's a really cool module that every person who's interested in Greyhawk needs to read. Whether they run it or not, they should definitely read it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've always said this: D3 is my Bible for Greyhawk on how to run Dark Elves. Lots of merchant clans.
Yep.
The fighters are not all dual wielding freaks. They use hand crossbows. The spellcasters are they're not like these beings that are, if they're 9th and you're 6th, they're always 3 levels higher. They're normal drow is the way I look at it. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah. Should we just, before we move on, just discuss this cover just a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah, because it's one of these that I both love and hate. This cover is first of all, let's get to the really goody part, because they are in the back to me. It's Keith Parkinson, and I love Keith Parkinson. He did some fantastic work, and this image I think is both the best and the worst of his thing. And the background, you have the giants. Those are the best giants I've ever seen on any illustration, bar none, period, so to speak.
But they get lost.
Exactly, they get lost, but you get both. But the cool thing is, when you keep them in the background, you get their size. You get their size, and the way he depicts them, I think they really play the part. So they look the part, and I just love them. And the same thing goes with the Mind Flayer. I love it. That illustration, I think, is fantastic. And when it comes to the drow, well, maybe it's kind of we have to talk the 80s, and he loves chicks, so let's just keep it there. So it's not despicable, or I wouldn't condescend and say, oh, it's a terrible that way. No, because it's not terrible. It's just that he took the easy part, so to speak. They just made and maybe this is something that they looked at when the Mensa Barons and
right, because they
stuff, they took it.
The Mensa Barons and females push their sexuality in the books.
Exactly, yeah. So this was kind of a little bit of a test run for that.
Yeah,
but it was easy, but it's not bad, but it's kind of, yeah, he could have done something more with it, but but on the other hand, there are even elements in it. I love the spidery tiara kind of thing. That's kind of really cool. But the giants and the mind flayer are fantastic. I just love them. The giants are
about the cover though. This cover marks the change of the Drow.
Yeah.
From actually having jet black skin
to that,
brown skin.
Yep.
Yeah, brown and then
this
purplish.
cover is the first time, as far as I'm aware, that you saw this in color. That change.
Yep. But I think it's part of just because Keith Parkinson wanted a kind of a good palette that worked together or something like that. I don't. Yeah, it's probably not a kind of an idea that okay, now they should be different skin tone.
I think honestly, I don't know the history of why he did it. I mean, it could have been a color composition thing. Yeah. They show up better this way. I don't know.
Or something. I don't know.
We can ask that question. We can try and get it. We haven't gotten him on yet. We can definitely ask him that question.
Yep. But I really love the giants and the mind flayer. They look fantastic. Yep. To this day, I don't think I've seen a better giant illustration of giants than these two guys.
Very cool observation there, Anna. So
well, Joe, good. The fact that in first edition, giants were much smaller than they are today.
Yeah, but I love that the giants of the first edition that are like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What is it, like 12 feet?
Fire giants are 12 and frost are 15.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going back to those sizes in when I run it now using advanced 5e or level up or offshoot of 5e. So I'm bringing them back because that's manageable size that kind of makes sense from biology, so to speak, and how you fight them. Exactly. Yep.
So I've never had that issue. Are you saying that you think they were too small back in the day, Anna?
No, I'm saying that they've gotten bigger.
Exactly.
As editions go on, they've increased the size of giants. So now they're literally like twice as large as they were in first edition.
So they're like 20 feet tall?
I like the fact that they're smaller.
Yeah.
If you want to fight them as enemies, otherwise it would be like ants against humans. It would be ridiculous, so to speak. But if they're only that much bigger, that means that all the game mechanics that we have in the game, the functions, at least for me, on a kind of a perspective in my mind works with that mechanics and that size, so to speak.
So I mean, I go back to the original Storm Giants, 21 feet tall. I mean, I figure it would be.
Oh, are they that big? That I thought. Okay.
Storm's 21, Clouds 18. Okay. Frost and Fire are switched with Strength. So Frosts are actually less, but they're 15, and Fires are 12. Stones are 11.
Sounds right.
Yeah. And then Hills are 10.
Yeah. But that kind of, I think that works. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we dig into each of these a little bit and see some ideas and maybe some things you're like, that I use that to this day. I'm gonna throw up our map here. And just and start at the beginning. Now, I missed doing something. I don't see him on. Gaetano has an Underdark map of through the mountains that I couldn't find on my computer, where he shows exactly where the trail of the Underdark is under the crystal mists. So we all know that Night Below is somewhere out here, right? That Night Below is kind of set here.
Well, it was kind of
retconned.
Retconned in. Yes, that's the term.
Yeah, it's retconned here. But for true sake, we know that in the Jotuns is where we start out, right? We start out with
it depends on what end you want to.
With G1, you got the Barrier Peaks, you got the whole Stark Mounds, Crystal Mists, Hell Furnaces running this entire length, right? And you run all the way up. So according to and do you have it on the map here? Here it is.
Most of them should be there.
There we go. Yeah. There it is.
Giant of the Hills.
And the Jotun. Studying of the Hill Giant Chief is here noted. So is that Dennis's map? No, this is mine. This is mine with my custom edits on it from Anna there, Troy. But thanks for that question. So that's where we have our start. And iconically, and we talked about this with Tharazin too, Joe. Name another adventure that starts off with really a massive fight at the beginning. I'm gonna. Whoops, that's the wrong one. That's the.
But the thing is, with all three of the giants things, if you go in there swords a swinging, you're gonna get pasted, and rightfully so. And they don't really stress this in the original modules as they were first published. But if you look at the compilation version,
yeah, which I got right here.
This is the version that actually has the original tournament characters in it.
Yep.
The first, the originals don't have that. And if you look at the magic items they have, they've got tons of invisibility stuff. They've got elven boots. They've got all this stealth magic. And that points you in the direction of which you're supposed to take these modules. You're supposed to be sneaking around inside the giants. You're not supposed to be going in and busting down the door and saying, "Where's Nosra? I'm going to take him out." You're supposed to be creeping around and, because otherwise, even a 10th or 11th level party, there are enough giants in there. They will wear you down and they will take you out. You've got to approach it stealthily and smart.
It was funny, the Dungeons and Dragons Online, that it's still around, that the MMOs, but when I started playing it it was like 2004 or 5 or something like that, and beta, they came out with a giant module that was a tribute to this, and that was, you were forced to do that technique because there were giants coming everywhere, and if you got caught and had to fight more than one of them, you were dead because they hoarded in and smashed you to a pulp. So that was, yeah.
Yeah, says Mike Celestian says the Great Hall where a lot of adventuring groups go to die.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
But when you are 12, 13 years old, you don't really stealth around that much. It's just let's just be honest. Yep. I mean, thieves are doing backstabbing, and you're absolutely correct on that, Joe. With the party. I know one of the characters actually has a ring of regeneration in that group, if I recall correctly. And that character, and I'll just point this out, is in the very back here. There's some great spells here. So it's sideways, but Funkin' Heidi Peak, right there, number 5, still in my campaign to this day.
I was going to say, I know where you get your names from now.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one character. I think he has a ring of regeneration sideways. Yep, ring of regeneration. So yeah, and use that character for a long, long time. So, but initial thoughts on Joe on this as don't, obviously your suggestion is don't just charge into the Great Hall and try and find your way through.
Right, you're sneaking around. In fact, one of the let me see if I can find this. Yeah, right here. One of the images in the original, I don't know if you can see it. There's a player character hiding behind the cloaks.
Yeah, let's go to that. I got it right here. Yes, absolutely. There you go. And the cloak.
Yeah. See, they're showing you the PCs are hiding from the giants. So, that's really the best way to do it. I could also see it if you had a little more background. If you, as a DM, if you gave the players a means of figuring out that, a little bit of what was going on, they could try to infiltrate as agents of Eclavdra or something like that. If they had access to a little more of the why going into it, they could use that to go that route, to do the, we're from your bosses, here to check up on you kind of thing.
So the first mission, G1, is to find out what's going on and to infiltrate basically the initial, the raids are coming, and I guess the against the Giants 25th anniversary makes it into a full invasion instead for this, right. And goes one step beyond, which I never have put into my campaign at all. So that was one thing, and then what I found interesting also about this is you have the Giants and you have the Dark Elves, and then during the Living Greyhawk area, Geoff couldn't even use the Dark Elves, which is weird. Right? I mean, it's just a lot of strange stuff going on here. But did anyone ever count how many giants are in here? I don't even want to know. Are there 50?
Back when I was a kid, I did, yeah. And obviously, they're going to get successfully harder as you go from G1 to G2 to G3.
Yeah.
Because not only are there more of them, but they're more powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
20. This is in the hall. This is the Great Hall. I think these hit point totals are super low. But then again, the game's kind of evolved from here. You got 8 ogres and a cave bear. The Chiefs cave bear. 22 hill giants. 22. 3 stone giants, and they throw boulders for 3 to 30 points of damage. A cloud giant, that's like 18 hit die. The sub chief and Chief Najran as well. It's just, and he fights as a frost giant. It's just crazy.
Do they have boulders laying around so they can throw?
I would just.
Can they
take
a table and throw at you or something? Improvised weapons for giants.
If it was me, they'd be taking up big kegs of beer and throwing them.
Yeah, they take items and
That's just it's crazy. This initial fight, and so this is where we'll sneak around and we'll put people at all 3 doors and we'll just fireball the whole room. I've seen it all, but once again, it was a long time ago. I haven't run this in 35 years. It's got to be. Joe, when was the last time you did the G series?
I did it at a con about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Did it at NextCon.
Oh, and the whole series.
All 3, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't put them into the draw. I just did the G1 through 3, and we had mostly the same players go through all 3.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
And you got through all, and you got through all 3.
Yeah, as I recall, they got through the first 2 no problem, and then the fire giants were alerted. Got alerted to them. They screwed up something. They let one go or something, and all of a sudden there were hellhounds and fire giants trapping them in a room, and they couldn't take it.
Yeah. So
stealth went awry.
Pawn Dream, I don't recall ever, and I'm not saying my players are bad, but I'm saying we were young. I don't recall ever going the stealth route in this adventure at all.
Well, no, it's because it's not obvious. They don't call it out.
Yeah.
But
it makes total sense now.
40 years later, it's you got a little time to think about
and a good DM, they're not going to be sitting in that feast hall for 30 hours. I mean, the feast is going to end at some point, and then they're all going to break apart, and you just happen to get there at that point. So that's kind of a neat start to it, and that's why I liked it. I know that this is when go back to Jason Zavoda. This was like his favorite of all time. As you can see, Sutherland doing all the artwork here. Now Sutherland wrote Q1, if I recall correctly, right? Did he write Q1? Yeah, David Sutherland wrote. It says with Gary Gygax, so he must have done most of the writing for it. So he's doing the artwork and the writing here, which is very impressive. And there's some humor in here. Like this was one of his favorites all the time. This weapon that has a magic mouth that says "Here's a kiss for you, runt," on it when you pick it up. That was always funny. And there is treasure everywhere in these, right, Joe? I mean, it's just like too much.
Well, it's one of those. It's the typical Gygaxian stuff is that you have a big treasure room at the end, right?
Yeah.
Where like half of the treasure chests are trapped, and that's where all the treasure is. But interestingly, they've also got that random table for the giants' bags.
Yes, which is cool to go through that. It was definitely a very neat thing that they had. They have these humorous pictures here, and notice the orcs are pig-faced in here.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You get
this was still the era of pig-faced orcs. That stopped around the slavers.
Is that so? Okay.
I'm not sure why.
Interesting. We actually are gonna discuss that a little bit on Wednesday's Legends and Lore. As Les Reno, Oblivion Seeker, is going to come on with Anna and me because Mike will be off. So, and talk about orcs and their kin. So there's dire wolves. There's just this is if you're going to hack through this, it is going to take a long time. And if you're going to have to take multiple forays in. I mean, look, bugbears are nothing to sneeze at either. Now they enslave unarmed orc slaves. They got a bunch. They're enslaved. Right. Yeah.
I was going to say, if you go in, just fighting everything, you're going to be giving up valuable allies because those orcs are, there's a whole colony of ex-orc slaves in the dungeon level that you could turn to your advantage and use them against the giants. But if you're just going around slaughtering everything you see, you're never going to have that opportunity.
Right.
And I think that's a theme you see in the entire series, GDQ, is that there are a lot of opportunities for hasty players to kill their potential allies.
Yep.
Just in these 2 rooms, there's almost 150 orcs. Like between the 2, that's a lot there. Troglodytes in the caverns, but and you got all, you got the torture chamber, you got the armor and smithy, and you one of Tim's favorite, you got the carrion crawlers down. And I recall you could fall into that, right? You could slip into those. Yeah, the sinkhole.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, the carrion crawlers were nasty. And they're, even though they're only 3 hit die. One thing here, notice that they don't put the stats up for a lot of the monsters in this. I guess they didn't want to take up even more space. They're just giving you the hit points of a lot of the things that are.
Yeah, that was normal in that early era because they assumed everybody has a monster manual just sitting right there.
Yeah,
and we did.
So, Pawn Dream, you said, would love to see this with 3D terrain. Make that happen. Oh my gosh! So.
Yeah.
We just fought a bunch of giants last week, and I think I only had out how many? 5 or 6, and that fight took that fight.
You need to have the whole steading on the table.
Oh my god!
So, yeah.
Well, there's that one guy on YouTube. He built the Tomb of Horrors, and then he built White Plume Mountain, like in as miniatures, to 25 millimeters.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Love to see him do this.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, is that who it is? Wylock?
Yes, I think it is.
That is dedication. Considering I get terrain, I got an arena and stuff, and I use them maybe once every or twice a year, and you're only going to use those once, right? You're not going to go back. That's the problem when you build that thing and it takes you a year to build it and use it one time. So and then
that's something you drag to cons. That becomes a.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the only issue is transportation on that stuff is brutal. Absolutely brutal. So, and then you have like 2 flaming swords at the end. So 2 flame tongues, both of them with intelligence. And then here's the treasure room, and you can see it's a lot of 4,139 platinum. Yeah, what a broken number. So this is pure. What do you think, Joe? Pure Gary writing, the way his style on all these.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a very easy to distinguish style, right? There's no getting around it. High Gygaxian, a lot of people call it, and it's kind of a stilted. He uses a lot of big words kind of style, but I love it. I mean, it's what I grew up on.
Absolutely.
I just absorb it and move right along. It doesn't bother me at all. I find a lot of the writing nowadays is kind of sterile that way.
Okay.
Without those rhetorical flourishes that he'll throw in there sometimes.
What I find is even more crazy about this one, Joe, is that there's other, like, here's 3 more stone giants. There's more giants in here than are at the feast hall. I mean, all over the place. It is a lot of giants. I think there's more giants in G1 than there is in G2 and G3.
It's possible. I don't.
Yeah.
I am not a comparison count.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot in G3. Because you've got the storm giants who they're trying to convince to come into the war, and that's another thing that's taking place in the background. That's not really called out as a big thing, but you could turn into a big thing. Is that the stone giants are there because Nostra is trying to convince them to join the other giants in their attacks against the humans. There's like this diplomatic thing going on, and it's very possible that the PCs could intervene on that level. And the same thing's happening in G3 with the storm giants, I think, or cloud giants or something.
So did the 25th anniversary edition just take the natural, oh, well, this is what would happen if the adventurers lost or didn't do anything about it, and then it got to a point, well, now you have to do something about it. Starch is overtaken.
Not really. They just kind of they invented a brand new plot with the black. Was that the one with the black sphere over Istvin, or was that in?
I think that's it.
Now there's.
I think that's it.
Yeah, they created this whole new plot device.
Okay.
And then they just put in the original 3 modules. They just copied and pasted them in. They didn't make any modifications to the original stuff to reflect the new scenario. And it's the same thing with Queen of Spiders. That's got a slightly different thing too, but they just leave the original text there, and it's up to the DM to kind of make it work.
So, in your opinion, it's disjointed for both instances and does not work?
More for against the Giants.
Okay.
But yeah, in both of those times, they just they didn't do the necessary work to change them. And in fact, that's also the case in the 5th edition version of these modules. They did a 5e conversion for Tales from the Yawning Portal, I think. And even though Iclavdra is supposed to be a priestess of the Elder Elemental God, because 5th edition,
here we go,
are always priestesses of Lolth.
Oh.
She's a priestess of Lolth because
it's already known. So every time we have one of these, it goes there. I am a huge Elder Elemental God proponent, and we know for a fact that Elder Elemental God is not Garnador, is not Tharizdun. Ed Greenwood said there's no crossover between them, between Forgotten Realms and Greyhawk. So the Elder Elemental God's its own, right? So he kind of said that there's no connection between the two. So I don't know. Did you hear something differently on that aspect, Joe? But that's what Ed said.
Well, in Oerth Journal, I know Gygax gave this whole big, long history of the Elder Elemental God, years and years after the fact.
Right.
Where there's 3 of them, and one is named this, and one is named that.
Right.
It was destroyed by Biori, and its essence turned into the stones and stuff. So whether or not that means that they're different, I think Gygax was trying to cross that bridge and saying, yeah, there are multiple Elder Elemental Gods with different names, but they act the same, and one is the Realms one, and one was the Greyhawk one. That's the impression I got, but I mean, who knows what was going through his mind when he spun that tale.
So we'll get back to that because we haven't gotten to the level 3 of G3 yet, so we can go on that. So Pawn Dream asks, and Joe, please answer this: what are the goals of G1 to 3? Is it there's an assumption that PCs will neutralize the Giants, or are the PCs looking for items in those layers? What would you consider the goal of these in the old school original G1 to 3?
Well, there's goals on multiple levels. On the in-game level, the goal is to stop the Giant raids. That is why the PCs are there. The PCs have been hired by the nobles to stop the Giant raids, period. So it's very straightforward on that level. On a narrative level, the function of G1 through 3 is to set up the idea that the Drow are behind this. And so the entire purpose of G1 through 3 is to get you into D1 through 3 on a narrative level. And when you tease it apart, there are parts in G1 that matter, right? You see the ruins of the weird abandoned temple. So that kind of foreshadows what's going on with the Elder Elemental God. And of course, it sets the whole thing. And in D3, you've got your first real encounter with the Drow and the Temple of the Eye. So in a narrative sense, G1 and G3 are necessary to get you into the next part of the thing.
Right.
The real question is, what's the function of the Frost Giants? Yeah. There's no information in there that's absolutely necessary that you can't get anywhere else. So there's no mask items that do anything to advance the plot other than to get you from G2 to G3, which you could just put in G1. So on a narrative level, G2 seems to be kind of an orphan because it doesn't fulfill any real purpose. It doesn't, there's no special peril there for the PCs. There's no special information. There's no special treasure. It's just kind of taking up space because we wanted to have 3 rounds of a tournament.
Yeah, exactly. And they wanted to go and we had Hill, Frost, Fire. We had, and
Yeah.
the location, Jotun,
Thematic.
Crystal Mist,
Yeah.
and that. So if we go to, you know what? I've never done this, Anna, on your map. I've never actually shown where. Is this it?
No, you you need to go. Hang on a second here. We have
That's
there's up
Crystal
and
Mist.
down. Yep.
Is that it? Hold of Gerger?
But Crystal Mist, hang on a second. Gugnir, and we have it up.
Is that it?
In, yeah, you have one. There's that's the thing. They're spread out over such a large area that is kind of
I thought
ridiculous. Muspelheim and
I've never looked for these.
Yep.
There's Eye of Jormy, so no, it's not that far south. It's got to be there. Right?
Rungnerheim
What's the name of the Frost Giant Jarl? Is it?
What's his place? Yep.
Well, that was the glacial rift of the Frost Giant Jarl.
Hey, Lee.
Yeah. Castle Muspelheim, and then we have the Rungnerheim, the giant tunnels. That's where some of them hangs out, and then we have the other ones are further north are from the living Greyhawk. So hang on a second here.
I think that's what it is, but we can check that.
Yep.
See, look at that. None of us know what his name was.
Hold of Grugnur.
Yeah, that's it. I was on it. Yeah. Okay. I was there.
Yep.
I was there.
Yep.
That's what I thought. Right there. Okay. That's what I thought. So it's not. Well, it's not super far from the Jotuns, but that's still a long way. But it's not like
and you're supposed to use the teleporter anyway.
Oh yeah, true.
I'm more kind of interested that they are really spread out. So they're not like geographically, at least doesn't seem to intentionally that they're like one little force here that moves around. It's like
which is exactly the opposite of the Underworld, but we'll talk about that when we get to
yes, absolutely. So you're correct.
Hey,
go ahead, Anna. Sure.
I was going to say one thing when we look at the map here. The crystal mist and stuff needs a lot of work because they are just a bunch of fractal noise and they don't look that good at all. And they look cool, but they don't function well. So that's a part of the map, the really high mountains that needs a lot of work. And also a lot of that stuff is not to scale because it's just there to look cool. And I didn't have the technique or the skills to do it better. Now I do. So that's why I need to look at geographical, meaning the giants can't live out in the mountains and live on snow alone, so to speak. There is a reason they're up there because they have timber to build, there's things to eat and stuff like that. So the geography needs to reflect the fact that they can exist up there. And we need to have high plateaus, and since a lot of it is far south, that means that the climate is kind of cold temperate way up in the mountains, and that gives the giants a lot more living room up there, so to speak, that we need to future versions of the map need to reflect that.
You actually show where the glaciers are? I have not.
No, the problem is that the whole damn thing looks like a big glacier with fractal noise in it. So it's not. It's a part of the map that looks cool but doesn't function well at all, and that needs to be fixed in future versions. Yeah.
Which I think it definitely, Anna, we can let you slide on this.
Yeah, I just want to point that out to people that think seriously about this. That I have thought seriously about it, and it's part of upcoming things to tackle.
So let's note this. We go notes for the Dungeon Master here. This is the second adventure, Glacial Rift of the Frost Giant Jarl. If time permits, the giants will organize traps, ambushes, and last-ditch defenses against continuing forays into their stronghold. You must work up such cases and plans according to existing circumstances, but assuming clever advice to the giants. There you go. Right there. Right there.
Balfrin says that the giants have a stable diet of adventurers. Yeah,
well, yeah. And this definitely.
That's awesome.
Well, considering the number of times they've reissued the adventures, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many people that played this that they probably do have a good diet of adventurers. Yep.
One thing that I'm trying to think here, is Yeti in the original Monster Manual? Or is that?
Yeah.
Okay. I always thought they were too low on hit die. They're like 3 or 4. I always thought they should be a little higher. So I souped them up a little bit. I thought,
But they seem to almost fall into the category of animals, because I always thought that bears and polar bears and stuff like that way too underpowered, so to speak. As
Yeah.
soon as you was second level, no wildlife whatsoever were any threat. Really, but that seems to have stuck in every edition. So not only old edition, it's still the case in 5th edition.
So limited wandering encounters, but it's a lot of ogres and frost giants. 4 winterwolves, which are nasty when they're combined. Lots of items again. Some cursed items here, which is good. Oh, this is the frozen ice. These are all the frozen corpses, aren't they? Yeah, that's a pretty neat room. I like that. When you go in, we got an entire room just filled with victims, and they're all frozen in blocks of ice.
That's their larder.
Yeah, and also and people are like, oh, I gotta get all the magic items out of there too. Yeah. So, and then this goes on, and then some neat artwork. Who did that piece?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, Dave Sutherland.
Okay.
Yeah, the White Dragon.
That's a cool one. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Any thoughts on the silver anniversary of the Giants? Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit, Patrick. Joe's opinion is it's slopped together. The storyline and then the adventures aren't changed. So, hey, Wiley Hobbit's coming in with a raid. Thanks, Wiley.
Yeah. Hello.
Good to see you, man. We're talking the GDQ series, so hopefully you guys will stick around. And we got a bunch of giveaways tonight. I can't. Where the heck are you? And shout out. There you are. Good to see you. Thanks, Guild. Yep. So here's your big baddie too of all time. One of the nastiest monsters. That is that is a great blow up of that. And who is that? Is that?
I think that's Tramp.
That's Trampier? Wow, okay. Very nice. I mean, that is just really disgusting when you think about it, looking at that. Yeah, Celtic Ivory animals are given a very simplistic view. So, it is, I don't know. I give them a little more, I try at least with some of them, to give them a little more pep here.
Yep.
But.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. I've boosted them up significantly.
And other things too. I mean, one of the things Leonard Kafka always said was one thing he loved about 2nd edition was they souped up the giants and the dragons, which.
Well, the other monsters, no problem in later editions, like 3rd edition and later. The dragons and stuff, they have shitload of hit points and they can kill everything, but the polar bears and the bears and some of the animals, they never got that boost.
Yeah.
Well, I liked what they did with the dragons in 2nd edition with the they had the tail whip and they had the dragon fear.
Yep.
And, I really liked that. That they bumped them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when they came of age, so to speak, in the game. Yeah.
I appreciate it there, Scott. So if you look at the maps here, these maps are really, look at this. They're cool.
They're great.
They're not to scale and elevation. Like that, the down area is not, but that's okay. Because you really can't do 200-foot elevation in one of these blue maps very well,
But if you look at the back cover.
Oh, of the GDQ or of D2?
If you have G2, do you have a separate copy of G2?
Yeah, I do. Let me pull that.
Look at the back cover of that one.
Let me pull that out here. Oops. Oh, that's better.
Right. And this helps you kind of visualize what's going on on that map. And it's the same thing with G1, where for a long time it's really hard to tell that there's like that big middle open area. But if you look at the back, you can see that that's a building and there's a courtyard and there's another building. But if you just look at the map, it's not
right.
It's not spelled out. Those two back illustrations really help you understand what you're looking at when you're looking at that map.
Yeah, and so with that, you get some, because you got some hills and mountains around here. You're getting some. Wow, that's pretty deep. So, and from that, going down into that, you get down to the lower level, or that is the lower level, right? I always forget. That's the upper. That's the lower.
Yeah, you're looking at the lower one there.
You're looking below that, underneath that, right? Yeah, and then up here is the top level, right? Down
Right,
level
that's
2
what you're looking at
on the back.
On that back cover.
Yeah.
And the lower level is obviously underneath this.
Well, that's good to hear that they're your favorites because we want to, just talk about them. So the Rimmeraz is in there, and that is you walk. I mean, odds are there's a chance you're going to walk right over top of it, and if you do that, it's game over for most of your characters. It's just because their back does 10 to 100, I think.
Oh yeah,
it fires up.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't think there's a save either. I think it's just 10 to 100, no save on the Rimmeraz. So you're coming in here and with the elevation, and then you eventually get down into. As you go down into the elevations, down the ledges. You could bypass a lot of the stuff on the outside, on the outskirts. So.
Which is another thing that you can do on in a lot of these modules in the whole series. There's if you're lucky, you can bypass a lot of the danger and just go to where you need to go.
Yep.
Which is not always the case in some of these old modules, but in these, it discourages random exploration.
Yes, and also it discourages. We have a thing, and any of my players who are watching, it's called, and it's in honor of one of our former players. It's called the Wayne rule, which means you had to go to every room because you didn't want to miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, in these modules, there's plenty you want to miss.
Absolutely. So this one, you're right. There's no connection other than there's stone giants here that they're trying to convince, I guess, to join them. Other than that,
and you've already seen that.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing new brought up here. I mean, you're gonna get to fight a white dragon and then fight, some other really nasty things here.
So it's here to drain your resources.
Also, though, this is this place where these two way before their time, because they're not published till 1985 and 83 in Arcana, Crystal Brittle and Energy Drain scrolls in here.
Right.
Yeah. So some new spells were introduced in this, and maybe that's true on Laval. The Hill Giants can retreat. Wayne is dead now. Well, yeah, kind of, yes. So the Wayne rule is always out there. So what's the highlight of this of G2 to you, Joe and Anna?
For me, it's that trapped. One of the caves, there's like a skeleton pointing down a corridor or whatever. But if you go down there, it'll avalanche on you and kill you all.
It's like Indiana Jones thing.
Just completely random, unfair, Gygaxian, rocks fall, everybody dies kind of moments. It's just straight out of nowhere. I mean, it's obvious that the Giants couldn't have figured that out on their own. It's just so absurd. It has to be my favorite part of this module. It has no business being there.
It's a good idea to do it this way and do all the individual ones instead of go through the G1 to 3 because we can then break them down a little bit. That's probably smart.
Yeah, and there are extra illustrations and stuff in the separate that are not in the collection, so to speak.
Yeah, while Mocha says newer players I find anymore don't get to do their every room in the dungeon dynamic. So I think once again the play style, Michael, has changed. I mean, old school groups love to dungeon crawl. That's why it's called a dungeon crawl, right? But older groups, newer groups, not so much. But it's a generational thing. But that's okay.
That's the difference between your games that are focused on exploration, which are older games, and games which are focused on story.
Right.
I mean, that's the dichotomy.
Yep.
And
that's a very smart observation. And me in my game, I've gone from exploration to story and then back again to exploration, trying to keep the story, so to speak. So in a way, I've gone full circle. And
nothing says that one is necessarily limited to a particular version of the game.
Yeah.
Look at Dragonlance. Dragonlance wasn't an exploration thing. It was pure plot, and it was first edition.
Yep.
The same way you can play 5th edition without necessarily having a big meta plot. And it's just an exploration game. I mean, it's just it's the way the table wants to play.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I think you can play either way, but I think it's also important that you understand, so you choose, so you don't like meander without. You need to understand what you want to play and what the players want to play.
And if there's a disconnect between the way the DM wants to do it and the way the players want to do it,
Robert Hartley.
Just stop. Don't even bother.
Yeah, I'm saying that because I need to. There is a little warning bell ringing in the back of my head here when I hear this. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Robert Hartley, everyone. We are going over the legendary GDQ series. We're on G3 Hall, the Fire Giant King. Great to see you all. I'm looking for, man, my shout outs are so all over the place. There's Robert's. Please, everyone, give Robert a healthy follow there.
Yep.
Thank you so very much. And we got giveaways tonight too. For these adventure modules, I'm going to give away 2 each for 2 drawings. G1 through 3, reprint D1 to 2, D3, and Q1, which is all we're going through in the Wall of Fame. And we're on G3 here, Hall of the Fire Giant King, the ending of the GDG part of the series. So welcome and hang out and enjoy this discussion. We got a very special guest, Joe Bloch, with Anna and me tonight. So, and Joe's got some publications he's done to enhance these even further, which is really cool. So, Joe, G3 is the toughest, in my opinion, and the most eye-opening, because you find out, wow, something's going on behind the scenes I never would have expected. Well, from running them so many times, but, Fire giants are not to be trifled with those swords and the damage they do. It is nasty even back in the old days. And there's 3 full levels of this dungeon as opposed to 2 in the other ones. If I recall it, we got 3 levels of dungeon to go through here. And it's King Snur. Let's find it on the map first. Here's
the Snurry Ironbelly.
Yes. Yep. And we're going to go all the way down to here. And there it is in the Greyhawk map. Hall of the Fire Giant King. Right on the border of the Hell Furnaces and Crystal Mist Mountains here. Okay.
But interestingly, on one of those hexes on the old Darlene map that actually has a volcano.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Volcano make sense to me. It's like it's a volcanic mountain and it's not a volcano on the map. What are you doing to me?
That's one of the many inconsistencies between maps and adventures. So to speak.
Yeah.
Did not even catch that, Anna, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, hot stuff.
It's a lot of it, and that also means that you can someone could just write about a volcano in one sentence and not tell the cartographer, or vice versa, so to speak. You can give free hands, and the cartographer puts something there, and the writers never look at the map in that detail. So that is it's very difficult with cartography, art orders, and writing to make it. It's really, really difficult because a lot of writers are not that keen on looking at maps for hours to figure out all the details, especially when you have detailed maps. And the more detailed maps you have, the bigger the problem. So yeah.
So Tim asks, why would Drow be operating near a volcano? Because that's where the Underdark entrance is to the surface world, through the old tubes of volcanoes.
Exactly, through the volcanic volcanoes. Vents and things. And also because this is where the Temple of the Eye is. And the way it's, the implication is that you don't build a Temple of the Eye.
It's there.
The altar of the Eye is there already, and the temple gets built around it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's when Gygax made that later history of the Elder Elemental God, that is the implication of what he said, is that it's not that, oh, I would love to worship the Elder Elemental Eye, let me build a shrine to it. It's, oh my God, we've been digging and we have found this fragment of the Elder Elemental God who is, that turns into the altar.
That's a great point, that you wouldn't just start building it from scratch.
Right. I mean, it's, you got the altar itself is a conduit of the Elder Elemental God. It can send out tentacles, and it can absorb sacrifices through the thing. And interestingly, you see this also in G1, in the weird abandoned temple. except the PCs at that time have no idea of its significance. It could just be a one-off. Oh, the DM wanted to throw something weird into the dungeon. But now, if they're thinking right, they're going to see, they're going to think, oh, we saw one of these and the other one. There must be a connection. It must be important.
And I imagine that a lot of DMs don't even give it its due here, because it's kind of, I always loved it. I immediately, when I saw, and we get to D1, 3, 2, and 3, when I saw the ill serves and they're one allies, 2 of the houses are allied, all the rest are against them and are all Loth worshippers, I immediately got it at that point, with the elemental god and the different weaponry and stuff, and the tentacle rods, which is one of my favorite items of all time, it just made so much sense. So I'm going to see if I can find. Do we remember? Is it on level 3? The temple.
Temple is, I believe, level 2.
Level 2. All right. So this is as nasty as before. Even nastier. You have some really, and you got stuff. You got magical gear hidden by true sight spell. You can't see unless you have that. You got some high level capability. Here's another, the treasure cave, and that's on the first level. So you're like, my gosh, this is all on the first level. What's going on here? As you can see, it is a lot. I mean, this is crazy. Amount of
his throne room is like immediately right out of the front door.
Yeah, Wandavistic Globs too. Yeah, you're right, Celestian. There's some great items. Death Lances. I mean, Death Lances is one of my favorites of all time too. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Oh.
More like, it's actually Spear Death Lance. Yeah, so great picture there. Got the Hellhounds breathing. This notice mages always have the cone hats back then. I mean, who wears those? Yeah, find that funny. A lot of fire giantesses, lots of Hellhounds. This is like a fortress.
And there's like salamanders. There's like a red dragon somewhere in there.
Yeah.
This is not an easy thing at all.
No. Ettins as well too. You do have some, once again, let's see here, more fire giants. You're right, Mike Celestian. There's a lot of fire giants in here. I didn't realize how many. Lots of, the thief who, of course, she's not going to do anything benefit for you. Were-rats. I don't remember that. There's were-rats down here. I did not. Here we go. All right. So here, 9 to 11. Let me find it. Let me find it on the second level here. Where's the second level map? Did I go by it? Sorry, I apologize.
Might be at the top.
It might be at the top of each in the old book.
Because remember, this one has 3 apples on the
I don't see it.
cover. So
that's 2. Okay. Is that 2?
That's level 1.
Yeah, it's level 1. Where the hell is the level 2 map? Because I saw 3 at the end. That's weird. There it is. It's last. It's bizarre. Okay, so it's from 9 to 11. Here it is. So here it is. It's big on level 2. You got this whole area here, and so this gets into the reasoning behind what's going on in here. And now we're just going to swing.
And it's really fiddly. I mean, you have to do things in exactly the right order, and if you don't, nothing will happen, or
right.
The wrong thing will happen. You really, this is a perfect example of why parties should have divination spells.
Good point.
You could start asking, would it be good if I lit these candles on either side of the altar? Or, will something happen if I ring the gong? Or, there would be ways to figure out what's the right thing, or, what are you supposed to do with this really complex altar and altar pieces and pillars and all that stuff. That this is why you have those divination spells, is to help you figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and there is a table, I believe, here. So, yeah, and it's all bad. So,
no, not all of it. You can get your heart's desire.
Right. But I'm saying if you just go and touch it.
Oh yeah, if you just go start messing with it, yeah.
If the altar is touched by living flesh or hit, it'll become to fading color, and it'll become a translucent amethyst color with a black amorphous center. Very Cthulhu-esque. Yeah, you're right on that. And then if the drum is beating, the chimes rung, and the triangle struck while the altar is changed. Simple. You should know that right off the bat to do all that.
And if you wait too long,
all creatures must seeing the eye must roll on the table below. So death, insanity, rage, frightened, weakness, aged 1 to 20 years, or no effect. You looked away in time. And there's no saving throw. That's just what happens. If the 3 tentacle rods are present, which is after this encounter, right? That's below this. Joe,
right. You
correct?
Get the tentacle rods from the Drow priest.
Yep. There's 2 lessers and 1 greater, if I recall correctly. And here's what could happen instead, and it'll just come out and seize and devour outright 1 to 4 more creatures. Okay, sorry. Strike present everyone totally blind, and then not grant the desires. That's a shame. Or you got a 1 in 12 chance of getting this. Raise the ability score of each character present by 1 in each category and take no sacrifice. Oh my gosh. Is that worth it? I bet you there's a lot of parties that think that's worth it.
It is if you're a Clavra.
Yeah, because you don't care if all your minions all get eaten, right?
Exactly. That's why there are sub-priests.
Yeah.
And think about this though. If this is the first time you're finding Drow, right, ever, and when this was published back in '78, that's what this was. Nobody had ever seen Drow before. There was like a 1-line mention in the monster manual, and that was it.
Yeah.
1 line there, and also 1 line in Dungeon Master's Guide, isn't it? Saying that they're only legend. I thought that, or is that
that's in the monster manual.
That's in the monster manual. Okay. Yeah.
But if you come out of this module, as far as you know, the Drow worship the Elder Elemental God, and their big thing is tentacles.
Yeah.
Nothing about spiders.
Nothing.
It's not until you get way further into the underworld that the spider thing starts to become
It's a great point. It's a great point.
If you're coming at this fresh, as far as you know, Drow worship this tentacle god.
That is, I never thought of it that way, Joe, because when level-wise, let's move forward to 85. Temple of Elemental Evil has a wall of tentacles as well, right? At the 4th level. And there's 1 or 2 dark elves there too, if I recall correctly, working with them, because that's elemental evil. There's a tentacle wall down there too, similar to this one.
Well, Zuchtmoy's interdicted prison is a temple of the eye.
Yeah. Okay.
If you read the descriptions side by side, there's the pillars, there's the green and purple flagstones. I mean, it all lines up with the temple of the eye that's described here, except there's no altar.
And that's done 7 years after this. That's written 7 years later. So this is the first.
It really makes it really points out that Gygax intended for there to be a connection.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I never even thought of it that way, thinking, this is 78 this is written in, so as opposed to 83 with the temple. So it is an interesting place. And a lot of people are probably be smart. A lot of adventurers just go in and go, I don't want to mess with this, which is probably the right thing to do. Is not to mess with it here.
That's one of the things that's so infuriating about 5th edition is that tentacle rods are just a Drow magic item now. Why? I don't know. They were in D3. Of course, they're a Drow thing. Yeah. There's a lot. So many people missed the idea that there are multiple factions among them.
I agree. See, that's it's Greyhawk. We can blame us. We can blame no, and I'm going to tell you why. Go to I Use the Evil, and a Clavdra's in there.
Yep.
Worshipping a Loth. She's a priestess of Loth in there. And
but in there they actually say that she used to be, and then she came back to Loth's service.
Right.
So they do actually Yeah, they do recognize that this happened.
Right. Okay.
But if you insert Gary Gygax's books in there, she went from originally Lolth to the Elder Elemental God to Grast back to Lolth.
So, Matt, it does, but it does. Gonador does, but remember, Ed Greenwood has said Gonador and Elder Elemental God are not the same. They're not one and the same. So that's true for that. Okay, that's a Forgotten Realms deity, Gonador. So, I know, Amy, we're going to go over this 1,000 times. We go around to this in circles 1,000 times. So, whoever she deems as needing as much. So here's the first encounter you have with Dark Elves, period, in ever. You got 2 low-level priests, 4th level. I think if you're 8th, 9th level characters at this point, this is a little too low. And here is Epis, and that is a Calavera. This is the first sighting ever of a Calavera. 10th cleric, 10th fighter.
But she is name-checked in G1. One of the scrolls that Nostra has,
the Epis,
is signed to Calavera.
Yep.
Okay.
But Amy, I thought she was dead in your campaign. Just kidding. Didn't Rich's character kill her? That was just a clone. I remember that from about a year ago. Yeah, and so this is her first appearance. 60 hit points too low, all that stuff. So, and not anymore. Okay. Here's the Greater Tentacle Rod. Now, if you go to, the one thing I love about Ed Greenwood's Drow the Underdark is they give you some details on all the other ones. So that's at least good. You get all the different colors and what they do in them in that book. But it's not. It is a Forgotten Realms based book, but you can use some of the stuff in there. Also note the following: Dark Elves in here have innate magic resistance at 50% plus 2% per level above the first. They also, all Drow, this is wrong. Drow males, because this assumes they're all 4th level. Drow males can cast Dancing Lights, Fairy Fire, and Darkness, I believe. 4th level and above can cast Detect Magic, No Alignment, Levitate. All females, 4th level above, get also, these are innate. Clairvoyance, Detect Live Suggestion, Dispel Magic, which is really cool. And there you go. That's fun. That's funny, Rethix. To clone or not to clone? Great. That is the question. It is, isn't it? The 3rd level is kind of D1-ish.
Yeah, I mean, but you have this same thing with the trolls, and that's really where you're trying to. I'm trying to think of how to put it, where what the function of the 3rd level is, because you have these increasing levels of resistance from the Drow as the PCs get closer and closer to the bridge over the lava pit. But you've also got like all of these trolls and other servants under there that serve as like high level cannon fodder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see how you would make that association between this and the
There's a lot of giants down here still.
Oh yeah, you got plenty of giants.
Yeah, 18 trolls in one room. So, Epis, is that Undercommon, Dark Elf? What language do you think that is, Joe? And what's it mean? I think it's just a title she's given herself.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
There's some things that just.
Yeah, I think that's what that is, Wiley. She's done. It maybe something that means something in Undercommon.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another treasure trove cave here, but here comes our red dragon, and it's a huge ancient down this 3rd level of G3.
Right.
Now, in the old days, I still doubled hit points, not on the breath weapon. So in old school, 1E, 2E, when this thing breathes, if you fail your save, you take 88 points of damage. If you make your save, you take 44. 44, not 4x4, 44 points. Yeah. So.
Oh, wait a minute. You the EHP apostrophe SS?
Yes.
That's Evil High Priestess.
Ah. That's short. It's like a slur for it.
Right, because that's a carryover from the Little Brown books where everything was like Evil High Priest.
Nice. That's there you go.
High Priestess.
Beautiful. There you go. Well, we all got something we never knew answered. So
yeah. See. Mm-hmm.
Joe, is Joe in chat? Joe should be under Greyhawk Rodnerd if he's in chat.
I'm having trouble, honestly, with the chat.
That's okay.
It keeps booting me out, and I have to refresh the page.
I got you covered. Yeah.
You're like me. You don't speak Twitch. You're too old to speak Twitch. It's like full of symbols and stuff. I don't understand.
I refresh the page, and then it never continues on. It just
you have to scroll down and stay down, and then and yeah, it's a whole science. Twitch is a science, and I haven't figured out 10% yet.
Yeah, and trust me, as we saw last Thursday, not Friday. I had problems.
Yeah, and Friday I screwed up so bad I never worked. So yeah.
Yeah. So and it's a spellcasting dragon too. With Polymorph Father, when is it going to get that? That's just even hysterical. Great spell, protection from normal missiles, invisibility, 10-foot radius. Great spell. So they gave him mirror image, some really good defensive spells here. Shield would be good here too. Shields stop those magic missiles. So Joe, Rick Miller says, tell Joe I'm updating my page with some 5e Greyhawk items soon. Like to link to his blog. The page is up and under construction. I don't think that would be a problem.
It's GreyhawkRodnerd.com.
Yep. There's Dragon Slayer Slord here. Always the Fire Elemental gem was something interesting here. It's like it doesn't. I'm assuming it's just a summoning. It doesn't really go over what it does in a lot of areas. 666 base, 1 gold piece gems here too, which is
I like how he throws that in.
Yeah.
But notice also, this is still using the old system where you could roll for gems for the value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you rolled right, one of those base, level 1 gems could end up being a 10,000 gold piece diamond. If the dice go that way.
Yep. Absolutely. That was one of our favorite magic items is the Jewel of Flawlessness, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a gem cutter to enhance stuff. Look at this room of trolls. 56 trolls right there. It's freaking. I can't even do. I don't have that many in plastics and painted together. Not even close. Just can you imagine that fight would take 8 hours nowadays?
Well, especially then you have to figure out which ones are regenerating and.
Oh my gosh, it would be a nightmare. Here is an entire Drow stronghold. Now these characters are, with the exception of a Clavdor, they're a much higher level. There's here, and you got a 5th level, 9th level fighter. You got a fighter mage with here comes your first vision of a wand of Isiglobs right there. Also, there's a demon staff here. There's an entire
demon staff,
entire Drow war party here. Excuse me. You can actually turn yourself into a Glabrezu type 3 for 5 rounds with that item. Nasty. That's a nasty, nasty item. And here is the abilities of the Drow and the spellcasting they get, plus all the magic resistance. You can't out spellcast them because the magic resistance is going to work more than often than not. So you got one Drow war party near the end, and then you find the entrance to the Underdark.
Right, they're guarding that the winch kind of thing to go over the lava. Yeah.
Yep. And then it's onward into. Here you go. Here's frequency very rare at best. It says right there. Magic resistance 50% and better. Chaotic evil. We don't need to go in. Let's assume this is old school. And I want to note this. We do not on every. I'm going to say this. Not every Dark Elf is chaotic evil in my game. There's actually when Unearthed Arcana came out in 1983, you were actually allowed to even play PC character Dark Elves. Mm-hmm. We have a few.
Yep.
We actually have a couple that are in the Order of Ulick themselves and are of good alignment. So please note that that's not. I don't take that as a stereotype. We have half orcs. We even have a half ogre or two in the Order. It's okay. It's PCs are the exception.
Well, I have it that a lot of them start at a disadvantage, meaning they're brought up in a loth cult, and that's kind of not the best start in life if you want to do something else, so to speak.
Well, also, kind of jumping ahead here, but in D3, there is a non-evil drone prisoner in the temple.
Yep.
That's true. It's like he's a merchant.
No, he's a resistor. You know, he's a but he's not good. He's just not evil.
So from this angle here in this picture, this certainly looks like a spear gun instead of a hand crossbow, right there.
I think the drow in that picture looks like a Romulan myself.
That's true. Very true. So as we finish up with G3, you go into the Underdark, and let's note that there's an entrance here. Now you're going to go head back up northwest, my bad. And let's start with, here we go.
Well,
go for it, Joe.
This is what I wanted. This is something I alluded to earlier. The underworld that's in that map is less than 2 hexes across. It's less than 2 hexes high on the Darlene map. It's only 50 miles in length. And it's very, very localized. I just did a video on this. And can you bring up the Underworld map?
Yeah. Let me just go to. Did I snip it? Let me just go to. Let me just go here. I'll go to one of the D's, and it'll be there. Should be the very end. Very cool. Nope.
That is a cool picture of the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, it is. There's the player's map. Here's the player's map you get in that fight with the drow.
Right.
Showing all this, and now let me find it. Should be the very top.
Find the DM map because there's very important stuff, significant things in that map.
Dun, 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 dun. It's got to be here. There. No. There.
Yeah. Now, for folks who might not be familiar with this, that dark shaded area, that's what's on the player's map.
Yep. And
the stuff to either side is just left for the DM to fill in. And in fact, there was a big project over on Cannon Fire a couple of years ago to do that they filled in all the stuff. But if you look at the map very carefully, like look at the top of the map, there are no tunnels that go off the top of the map. There are no tunnels that go off the right of the map.
Yeah.
Or I think there's one that goes off the bottom of the map.
Yeah.
And there's only like 3 that go off to the west.
Mm-hmm.
Each hex on this map is a mile across. So this entire map fits in less than 2 hexes on the Darlene map.
Which is 30 miles across.
Exactly. And the only passages that go off, except for that sunless sea up in the corner, the only passages that go off this map are 3 ones that head deeper into the mountains to the left.
But note the following. Here's the vault. There are 3 more vault-size caverns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also this on the Sunless Sea. Is that
the island. That's the only one that's 4 hexes across.
Right. I think a lot of people said this is the Aboleth City. Is that what you decided or no? You don't.
Yeah, I really haven't done anything with it.
Okay. Doris saying the Ghoul King.
It could be a Koatella city. That would make as much sense.
Yep. So, all right. Some wonderful things. You come through these caverns, and it's split in 2 pages when you come into D1 off. Now, you can encounter drow with random encounters. The random encounter tables are probably some of the best that there are. Look at this. This is pretty in-depth and well done. They don't change that much between D1 and 2 and D3. A little bit, but not much. And this is like you got patrols, you got war parties, drow merchant caravans, all sorts of monsters.
Like in D1, there are no Koatella.
No Koatella in D1's encounters tables.
Right. In the tables, they're not there, even though they probably should be.
Yeah. If
they're wandering around in the underworld.
Yeah.
And I think there's as you get closer to the Vault of the Drow, you're seeing more Drow patrols. I think that's my impression, but I might be wrong.
There's we had some nasty fights, I remember, just with random encounters. Because they're not small war parties. You know, so, and you also have the Drow are blocking the entrance at the first encounter, if I recall.
Right, there's like a checkpoint.
Yeah. Yeah, the very first one is a checkpoint that's on the map. It's got, I don't know, 20-some Drow there. By the way, Joe pronounces Dro. He's from North Jersey. I pronounce Drow. I'm from South Jersey. That's the difference.
The essence. That's the essential difference between North and South Jersey. It's, you know, it's you got the Flyers fans who say Drow, and then you've got the Rangers fans who say Dro. That's
exactly
how that works. Because nobody in New Jersey is actually a Devils fan.
Yeah, exactly. So true.
But
yes, Joe's in North Jersey. Rob, he's probably not far from you at all.
Here's something interesting though. That Dro checkpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Are those loyal Dros?
No.
Okay.
Because the evil high priestess, it's Vlandril. She is definitely, I thought, a Loth priestess. Is that correct or no?
I'm flipping through it now. I don't see anything one way or the other.
Here it is. For any reason a Drow is seriously threatened, she will attempt to save herself by using her magical cloak to change into her lurk above. For she is charged with reporting to the Fane any significant event which transpires after the follower's snur, i.e. the ruin of a Klavja's plan. Well, the Fane is Loth.
Right, the Fane is Loth. So this is a Loth loyal contingent.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's what I thought on that. I don't think you come across any other Elder Elemental God individuals until D3.
Except for the random encounters.
Yeah.
Although there's the second encounter is with the were-rats and the mind flayer, and they have the merchant captured.
Yep. Yep.
Which one is he? Let's
take a look here.
I'm trying to think what his pin is. You know, what his house loyalty is.
I'm reading here.
And I don't mean to get a sidetrack.
No, it's good. It's good. It's a great point. I don't see him
because from my perspective is the narrative function of D1 is to demonstrate to the players that there are multiple factions among the Drow.
Right, and here's how you know
why this exists.
Yeah, they have this is where you start collecting house brooches. Alaval, Despana are both here. As you can see at the top, it tells you the encounters that you're going to start getting. And one on the person of Vlandril, hidden in her hair is a golden spider pin with engraved runes, which say in Draulic, Loth, Death Queen, Mother. So it doesn't say Spider Queen; it says Death Queen, Mother. Huh? That's interesting too. Yeah, it's a good mind flayer too.
That's another tramp one. Yeah.
Yep. Some really cool stuff. All right, so we're going to come into a legendary character in here that, if I recall, Gary Julian made an entire backstory. Why this person? Yeah, why this lich is just lying there? This is, and if you looked at the maps, you could just almost walk right through here and just not.
You literally can.
Yeah.
If you go for you come in that one big tunnel on the bottom. And if you just go to the northwest in that big, out that big thing, you're gonna, a couple of Drow are gonna see you in those side caverns, but that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to fight the Lich. You don't have to fight the Trogs. None of that. You could just go whoop, right through it.
Yep. And here's the cave where you have 14 Drow, and the levels aren't that nasty. They're second and third level. It's not like they're all 7th level. But once again,
these are the equivalent of like the city guards.
Yeah. The first encounter you can't. They're blocking the passage.
Right.
Yeah, you have to go through them.
Big kid, you could literally just go and out you go.
Yeah. This place you can go out. So there's the Asperdes picture down there at the bottom. Right there he is, just lying around with 600 magic, some crazy amount of magic mouse, which would drive me crazy too. But he's got like this unbelievable horde. You can't resist treasure hordes, right? So we got to go after this lich with time stop. It's not going to go well. Yeah,
you could just see him there, and you could just picture when he gets up like that, he's going, "What's up, liches?"
a nasty encounter. A lot of ghouls, a lot of gas, a lot of undead, a lot of there's a mix of just. You wonder how it all gets along in these caves. There's probably a lot of factions here: trolls, bugbears, undead, wyverns. There's a couple wyverns in here. Troglodytes. So this is a wearing you down kind of adventure, but it's all pretty much unnecessary.
Yeah, if you know how to do it, you can completely get around most of the encounters in this adventure. But you are dead on when you say this is a wearing you down adventure, because it has one of my favorite monsters in it. That were introduced in this, the Germlane.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, you can be such a sadist with the Germlane.
Yeah, and they
all they do is they sneak around and they like cut your sword belts and they cut your backpacks and they attack you with sand-filled saps, and then they run away, and they have their own network of little tunnels that nobody except for a gnome can get into. You can really bedevil a party with those things.
Aren't they just random encounters though?
Yes.
Yeah. You got to have one of them though.
But I always make sure that they get in.
Yeah, so D1, you have this encounter of the drow. Thank you for the follow. You have, and then you have an area with were-rats and a mind flayer, and then you have your main. It's called the Caverns and Warrens of the Troglodytes. So there's a lot of other stuff in here, including a lich. So and Asperdes, and Gary Holian did an entire story on why the lich is down here. So I think that's on Cannon Fire. Yep.
But yeah, the purpose of this module is to give information to the players and to knock them down resource-wise.
Yes, because there's no retreating at this point. You can't teleport out. You have to physically leave to get out at this point. We go into the Shrine of Koatella next.
And this one, to my mind, is exactly the same as G2.
Yeah.
There's no reason for this module.
Yeah. Other than to introduce the Koatella.
Which doesn't mean anything in the finale.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
narratively, it has no function.
Yep.
There's no new information, no new magic items, nothing. It's the only reason this could possibly be needed is if the players don't pick up on the fact that there are factions, and then you can have the Snurf Neblin, the deep gnomes, kind of give them the information monologue.
So St. Cuthbert, I'm gonna answer this question, and you're gonna be surprised. So I have 900, and as of this Thursday, 961 adventures in my log. None of G1 does because I reran it, but G2, G3, D1, 2, or 3, I don't think appear in any of them because I ran these in 79 before I officially had my Order of Vila campaign. So they're not even logged on there, but we ran them. I mean, that summer of 79, we were sitting there watching Animal House and on Prism and what else was Caddyshack and all this other movie, I'm playing D&D at that time. So, logged adventures, 961 this upcoming this Thursday. Rumble in the Warehouse. One shot. So here's your encounter tables. Did they throw Koatellans? Oh, they have Koatellans on here finally.
Right, exactly.
Now I have respect for what Gary has done with the Koatellans. They have some unique characteristics.
Yeah, Koatellans are cool.
They have the monks, the monitors. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are insane. They have sticky shields.
The sticky shields. They have the man catchers
and the nets.
And they have a kind of culture that they kind of, there's more to them than just game mechanics. And I love monsters and stuff that brings more than just the stat block, which to me, I want to world build on top of it. So,
yeah. So Pawn Dream, in today's D&D, the answer to that is yes. If you're gonna run something you want to run for over 2 years and you want to run these with your friends, great. Well, in today's D&D, you want to cherry pick ideas. I think here. I think that's the way to go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Slogging through all this may not be the way to go in a 5e game, but hey, if your friends want you to do that, then but
yeah, I will definitely take all the locations from here, start thinking about getting the locations in there, putting the locations in slightly different, more expanded context, and then insert them into, and the same thing with the NPCs and stuff from it. And Koatellans are something I want to take whole hog, so to speak, in a lot of sets. That is I really like them.
So you have an encounter area, the water crossing. Now I'm going to tell you a little story about this when we did this. This is true. We had a character. Everyone was named after themselves. So we had a character named Matt because Matt was a player back in I think we're 7th grade. No, maybe even 7th grade. And he got turned to stone, I believe, by Asperdes. I'm almost positive that's where he got turned to stone. So they were bringing along his statue, trying to figure out how to, because no one had stone flesh. This river crossing, he went over the barge and into the water, the statue. Yes. So, yep. And that happened here. This is where you have the rogue monitor with 1800 strength who's insane on the other side, just hanging out waiting for you. And then from there, you go into another place you could probably just walk right through.
Well, this one you can't, because if you don't go to the prince's throne to like make abeyance to him, and if you don't make a sacrifice of gems on the ziggurat,
that's right.
Without suspicion, I think.
Right, and then the whole army, the whole Koatellan army comes after you.
This is where the first Neblin come in.
Yeah,
because they can tell you how to get through there. If you this is another example of there's plenty of allies in there that you could kill.
Right. So here, and this is half of the map, but you can see you come in here, and here's where you're going to go up, and you got to make the offering here. Well, if you do that, you can get through.
When I was 11, this map baffled me because this was like the second module I ever bought, and I couldn't make heads or tails with. It's got the dotted lines, and where does the ziggurat go up or down? Or oh my god, this melted me.
Yeah, he's 11th level human ranger there. If you want to find Matt's statue in the waterway underwater. Yeah. So there's some traps in here. I know you can actually get teleported to see Blipdol Poop if you don't say the word Slulpa when you pick up something, and then she you owe her your life when she teleports you back or something. I mean, there's some weird stuff in here.
Yeah.
But are there dark elves imprisoned here? Or I don't think there are there?
No, I don't think there are any not in the shrine itself.
Yeah. Basically, this is where your Koatellans are, right on the main path. Your shrine, the shrine's here, and and yeah, here. So you do have an encounter with the. I'm sorry, you do have an encounter before the shrine with the Snarf Neblin. You do have that encounter. So
and it's very possible that you picked up some Drow merchant prisoners along the way who could, because in theory they're going to know exactly how to get through here, and you could figure something out that way. One of the things I love about the Swerf Neblin is the fact that they're neutral and all they want are gems, and there is a huge bucket of gems on the ziggurat.
Right.
So if I actually did this once a long time ago, where the Swerf Neblin lied to the players about what to do so they could get their hands on the gems, because that's like they're all they want. We want the gems. We must have the gems.
Because they need the gems to summon their elf elementals.
Or just because they like the gems.
Yep.
I mean, they're just, but yeah, they use the gems to summon the elementals. But yeah, they actually betrayed they told the party to just do a grab and dash on the gems and bring them back to the knowns.
That's awesome. And then they had to get through after that. So
well, yeah, that was pretty much the end of that.
That is funny. So if you do not know this, you can play Deep Gnomes as a playable race from the Unearthed Arcana.
Unearthed Arcana, right.
Also, they get this summoning ability as long as you're not an illusionist. I think at 6th level, they can summon Earth Elementals. Now they have to have the gems to do it, or but yeah, they can. This is an ability that a PC Deep Gnome can get in your game if you use the old school Unearthed Arcana rules. Yep. So just to note that. So I won't go through the details on this too much, but anything stand out here? There's a lot of pearls. There's just a lot of gross things. I don't feel the vile evilness they do from Sahagwin with Croatoans.
No, they're more odd.
Yeah.
Than menacing.
Right.
Unless there's like, dozens of them starting to pour out of the rooms around you because you screwed up when you were making obeisance to Libdul poop.
Right.
Then it becomes like, oh yeah, you see these, there's frogs coming out and then more and more and more and more. Then it becomes, then you can really build up menace, by describing how they're just starting to boil out of the passages on either side and ahead of you and behind you. You could turn it into that, but individually, they're kind of goofy looking.
We may run late tonight to try and finish this up tonight, everyone. Just Oh, by the way, you do have a drow female here. Deranol is trapped here.
Oh, okay.
Free her, yeah. She is a mage? I thought she was a cleric. Wow, she got some pretty high stats. Yeah, let me just see here. All right.
Oh, she's at the very end. Yeah.
Yeah. I just I got it so that yep. She's
nice
a
level
house
fighter.
Yep. House Noquar. Thirdly, and here comes our so I'm gonna go off that one and we're going to go to one of my favorites of all time because it is this campaign setting in itself. And then we're going to take a little side trek onto what Joe has, Joe has done. D3, Vault of the Drow. You got a Nycademon here. I'm not sure what this is. If that's supposed to represent Loth or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's Loth accepting a sacrifice on the altar from a high.
Cool. The Vault of the Drow, which is very large.
This is one of those adventures that Gary designed that really requires the DM to do an enormous amount of work to run it properly.
Yeah. Whose artwork do you think this is? Is Sutherland? Yeah, DC. It's Sutherland.
That's
it's David Sutherland still. Yeah. Yeah, and you need to really know your stuff here. You need to go through this. There are some encounters as you come up. And the tables have changed a little bit. I think once again, the Croatoans are out here. Only the Croatoans are in D2. I don't see any Croatoan encounters here.
Well, you can encounter Quotoas in the vault.
In the vaults, yes, but
they're like in Errol High Kinlu.
There are none. I don't see any in the encounter tables. Yeah, demons though, all sorts of demons in the encounter tables. So you have merchant clans here, which is really well done. There's 16 different ones. Here's all their brooches. And there's 8 noble drow families here. 2 of them are allied with the elder elemental god. 5 are with Loth, and 1 is unaligned, if I recall correctly. Yeah. And it discusses all that.
Yeah, and it's the relationships between those houses, and then you got the merchant houses are aligned with some of them, and then you've got the 2 fighter societies, plus you've got the priestesses of Wolf. There is a ton going on in this thing. And really, if you're going to really appreciate it, you need to get the PCs involved in those intrigues. And it shouldn't be that hard. I mean, yeah, the Isle serfs are going to, and what is it, the Everhates are the ones who are allied with them. They're going to be aware of the PCs as enemies, but the other Drow aren't going to care that they beat up that they killed a Clavdra before a Clavdra's clone. They don't, they don't know that, and
yep.
It's not unusual for there to be humans from the surface in the city, so you could easily work the PCs into those intrigues among those factions.
And you get to now see items. What the Drow use. The Drow love addle-addles, throwing javelins.
Yeah,
that's a great item. They all use a lot of bucklers. They have a lot of chainmail. Now a lot of that gear will spoil in sunlight.
The cloaks do too.
Cloaks do too. Yeah, they have the Pawafwis, right? Now they're not called Pawafwis in here. They're called just Dark Elven cloaks or Drow cloaks. Pawafwi comes in the Drizzt novels. That's what they're called. But they are fire resistant. So your first encounter is this the one with the succubus?
That's the succubus and the vampire.
No, that's the second one. This one is a, if I recall correctly, is another guard post. Yeah, it's a Drow guard post. The second, yeah, that's the first one. You have to get through because they block the passageway. You have to fight that one. The second one is the vampire and the succubus lovers, which is they're just hanging out in this cavern, and they're just going to attempt to she's going to attempt to seduce you. Male Drow vampire Belgos. That's awesome.
But if you look at that Underworld map, if you stay on the main passages, so right, because they have primary, tertiary, secondary, tertiary passages.
Yeah.
The Drow checkpoint is on the main primary passage.
This one, so you can bypass it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can only bypass it on that secondary passage from that second one. You have to go through one of those two. The other one, the third one, off to the side, doesn't let you into the city.
Right.
It's a dead end.
Yeah, you have to go, and you have to go back through here. See, the one with the succubus is not noted, right? Right here
it's
on the map.
It's not noted on the player map.
On the player map, yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the eye. The guard posts over the eyes. Like here's another one down here.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's D1. This is the first one encounter area. This is here the Koatella Shrine. Yeah. So. Pretty neat. All right, let me flow back up top here. Oh, the Black Tower, one of the favorite places of all time. So you got to, you get through those, and here's the other encounter area, which is a bunch of spiders. Those spiders that's random damage because you got to go back down through anyway if you go up that tertiary. So you will have to do an encounter with a cavern with a bunch of spiders in it. Manageable. The Vault of the Drow has its own encounter keys. Lots of different things here.
Yeah, I like the slave hunters.
Yeah,
who are looking for escaped slaves.
Yep.
There's all kinds of, and in the city itself, they have encounters with rakes, which I love.
Well, this gave me an idea for a major plot line in our campaign, and we'll get there in a second. So. Look, the encounters go. Huge encounter tables. Drow Noble Hunting Party. This is something you don't want to mess with. I think aren't there Mezzo and Nicodemons on? I think they may be in the city.
Yeah, you can run into them in the city. Yeah.
Yeah. Harvesters, the raiding parties, just Koatoan spies, all sorts of encounters. So as you come into the vault, in the distance you see the Black Tower, which is your check-in. Because you need to get the lime green cloaks if you're outside the city. Because if you're not wearing them, then you're immediately subject to being slain or captured or enslaved. So we've had this happen a lot of times where parties, adventurers went in there and they just started attacking, which is not a smart thing to do.
You see a city in the distance, we attack it.
Yeah. We had a semi-party wipe here once where they got out, half the party died and realized, whoops, we made a mistake. The whole vault now, because if you do that, the whole vault goes on alert if you attack here. And once that happens, that's it. So, yeah. Stealth is the way to go here. Oh, thanks, St. Cuthbert. I really appreciate it. Trying to get through, our going in depth on some of the great modules of all time. Now, there are what Joe I find cool about this whole area is the fighting societies are set in here. The Drow male and female fighting societies, they have them split up. You have all your areas with all the merchant clans, which tend to they stick to themselves. They're not really worried about the Drow subterfuge that much. They're allied with certain houses. So there's some really cool development here. The Fungi Forest is here. Look, here's the Female Fighter Society. They serve Loth. Here we go. Death Lances make an appearance. One of the best items in the game. I just, Dragon Lancers are cool, but the Death Lance is just awesome. So there's a couple in my campaign. I've given them out as treasure items, and they brought them out. Male Fighter Society. So they have these whole encounter area. You know, you're just going to ask for trouble just going in. This is a whole realm of the Dark Elves. It's like going to Men's Barons. You don't just start slaughtering things here. It doesn't make, it's not the smart thing to do.
And also, if the PCs are paying attention, they'll realize, there's a difference between the males and the females, to the point where they're actually segregated.
Yep.
In places.
9,000.
That's another thing that the players could work on as to their advantage if they wanted.
Yep.
If they were smart about it.
So, Joe and Anna and I know, I'm going to ask the audience, how is the name Arelhai Sinlu done? How did Gary come up with that name? Anyone know besides the three of us?
I've heard it, but I forgot about it.
Joe.
So
it's like a Celtic thing.
Gary's children, yes. It's all parts of Gary's children's name. Lou, Cindy, Lou, Luke.
That makes sense. Okay.
That's how they came here. Yep.
Yep.
Awesome. Very cool. So this is great read here, talking about Arelhai Sinlu, and it's really gives you some ideas here, talking about thousand star creatures visiting for purposes known only to themselves, and we're going to get to Joe. I'm going to give it all over to him in a second here. The most popular places are gambling dens, bordellos, taverns, drug saloons, and even less savory shops along the two main streets.
Back when you could talk about drugs in the D&D.
Yes, and also prostitution and all that stuff up here too. Look, these crowds pass hurriedly for noble drow riding nightmares, and the more powerful demons or nicodemons are just wandering around, and you're like, ugh, Also, it talks about the elf drows here, half elf, half drow. First time I ever saw that appearance, and that gave me my idea for something momentous, and I'll talk about that in a second. Let's see.
Be carefully define that too. Well, that's one of the, they just kind of put it in there.
Yeah,
it requires a careful read.
Absolutely, you got to find it in between the lines here. So let's go to this, because the first, Joe, and take it away here. What is this?
Yes. First of all, there's a new version of it that actually has the proper font.
Okay.
If you download it. This is an urban adventure that I did set in Arelhai Sinlu. And it's designed to give the PCs the information they need to complete the series of modules. It has a series of encounters in the city, which is kind of directed by a sage that's in the city that will send the PCs on some missions and stuff. He ends up he's a spy for somebody else, and it gets them into the intrigues, and it also completely describes the House Isleserve's estate, with all of the different NPCs that are there, and even within the house, I set up all kinds of different intrigues and rivalries between the members of that Drow family. Some of them are spies, and it basically allows you to. It does a lot of the work that you need to do in order to run D3 properly. It fleshes out the city a lot. It gives the PCs a very set way to find the information they need, and it gives you that all-important locale if you want to infiltrate the Isleserve's estate. So, it sets up the reintroduction of the Elder Elemental God.
Yes.
At the capstone. Because the EEG is in D3, but not in a starring role really. And what my module does is kind of brings that more into the focus of the players. That there is that rivalry, and that the Elder Elemental God really is your enemy, and that's what you be focused on, and that's what the module does. It's an urban adventure.
Joe is smart here, so that, for trouble purposes, says you must have one of these two to run this.
Yes, I was limited in the amount of detail I could give on the city because it was already printed.
Yes.
And that's because I published that under the fan content policy.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be free.
Mhm.
So that's a free download on my blog, Greyhawk.
Can someone in chat who is responsible, and I know a lot of you are, please link Joe's site because Joe is having trouble getting on there for Grognard. And if you know specifically where the link is on that site, that would be even better. But this is a free download.
Yeah, if you go to the top, it's under free resources.
Okay. Thank you there, Rob and Hager. Thank you. And
I'm
it's under free
working on it.
resources. There you go.
Yep.
All right. So that's just everyone. And you should also patronize Joe's blogs. Yeah, because this is a fantastic publication, along with another one we're going to talk about in a little bit. So, you got an in here in Elroy High Sinley, which is nothing else is in D3 even with.
Yeah, I actually modeled that one on the end of the Welcome Wench.
What the heck is Kumis? Giant bat pint. I don't even want.
It's milk. It's fermented milk
from a bat or a rat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, they don't have grain, so
that's awesome. Wine Sunless Sea Green, nice. Yummy. Nice encounter tables coming up too. Wow.
I wanted to give the players like a base of operations, that they could go to.
Yep, that's super cool.
Lee, thank you for that, which is horse milk, Arag. I did not. Yeah. Okay. So. Thanks, Hager. So, yeah, you actually have the inn done. I'm assuming there's maps at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Very nicely done. There's El Cerebus Paralis, the estate. Crown button, there it is. Oh, a sewer connection, too.
And I called it the crown and button because if you read through D3, there's a lot more emphasis on fungus and mushrooms and not nearly as much emphasis on spiders as you see in the Forgotten Realm stuff. Because if you look at like Menzo Baranzan, it's everything is spiders. Spiders are everywhere, and that's all you ever see. In Vault of the Drow, mushrooms and fungus is much more prevalent.
Yeah.
In thematically. So I wanted to make sure I included that.
And also, yeah, Menzo Baranzan seems more technologically advanced with that tower thing am I doing that right? The mages have the power tower thing that appears like every 12 hours it lights up or whatever. Am I remembering this right? Yeah, it seems much more of a technological advanced place than this, where this is more, besides the estates and all, this is very, it is what it is. It's fungus farms, right? Yeah. So, and you got some new named characters in here, which is great. You also, so this is you got a priestess in the role in here. Nice. Whoa.
Thoriston.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, Grast. You have a priest of Grast in there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I wanted to make that link with the novels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And El Clabdra and all that stuff.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Thought so. I have some memories from reading those books. You got there's a human ranger. Wow. So some cool people are here for their own reasons, which is neat.
And again, allies that you might be able to cultivate.
Yeah.
Helping you.
Yep. So it's just like an inn. You just don't want to get out of line here, I think, because there's nowhere to flee to.
And it's very deliberately a neutral zone, so you get Drow from the Elder Elemental God faction as well as the Lol faction both come into the inn.
Yeah. And here you have events. So you have an event table. That's neat. So you got some bad things happen. An eventful night. Roll twice. Don't stain the floor. That's awesome, Joe. So, look, is that from? Did you decide it was based on Ulatek from Heavy Metal?
No.
Ulakertheron. It sounds very similar.
That's just me throwing random syllables together.
Okay. Yeah. Ilthid Sage, huh? Oh no, is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. Nice. Pebrig Defense. There's lots of great detail in here, everyone. The Priests of Gazets. Yes. Lots of things. Blackmail. I guess it's a situational thing, right?
Well, that's one of the the Mind Flayer Sage will send you on missions. That's one of the missions.
Awesome.
To get the information that you need.
So there's multiple missions coming out of this.
Oh yeah,
it's not just one. That's great.
Several small little adventures, and then there's the big one to infiltrate the Islesers.
So Dido, a self-described prophet of Loth who regularly exhorts passersby with the threat posed by the elemental god and his followers. That detail's never discussed really that much anywhere in the D3 adventures. So you kind of, it's all innuendo. It's under. So this is a little different there. And here comes the old Sears estate itself, which is
very extensive, and I meticulously went through, because in D3 they tell you, every great house estate will have this many 4th level fighters, this many whatever. I actually made up a checklist so that every one of those things is in their estate.
Are you allowed? Do you name a Clavdra and line me in here as far as stats, or do you say refer to D3?
I don't remember what I did, honestly.
Okay. So I hear you talk about them. I didn't see. I was just curious on that case.
In fact, there's also a place where you can find one of her clones waiting to be reactivated.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, some cool stuff. A Beastmaster, the Nobles, an Assassin. You got them all. You got it all covered here. Much more detail than just having a list of like 4 or 5 with levels and nothing else. 1 or 2 names, and that's it.
Well, that's just it. And there's a lot of different interactions between the different NPCs that are in the estate. It tells you, this person is a rival of this one. This person is secretly allied with this one. There's a lot of stuff going in there.
So hopefully this gives a lot of you some new information you can utilize in a Vault of the Drow adventure path, or series, or part of your campaign, because there's a lot of great detail that Joe has done here for you. And it's all free.
If you need to get your players back on track once they're in the vault, that's what this is for.
Yeah. And you may, do 1 or 2 missions and then move on to the Fane, or, I'm assuming you get to the Fane as part of this too.
Yep. Yeah. The idea is this is how they learn that you can get to Lolth's plane via the Fane.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the hidden shrine that's just mentioned by 3 lines in D3.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like the one in G3. Just use that.
Okay. So it's detailed here, which is good.
And it's a little different. It doesn't work exactly the way the one in the Fire Giants works. The mechanics are just a little bit different.
It's awesome. That's fantastic detail. And you also have clerics in here already, some with tentacle rods, which is great.
Well, we've also got the Lesser Servant of the Eye.
Ooh.
Because, remember that a Drider is a Drow who has failed Lolth's test, right? Because every Drow who reaches, 6th level, takes the test of Lolth, and if they fail, they're turned into Driders.
Right.
The Lesser Servant of the Eye is a Drider who has converted to the worship of the Elder Elemental God.
Male or female?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, I thought you had a specific character here.
But if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll find the description of the Lesser Servant of the Eye, and look at the illustration I did for it.
Secret chamber.
There. Instead of the spider body, it's got the tentacle body.
Oh.
And then I kind of superimposed the Drow torso on it.
Yeah, that's nasty looking.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So I wanted to make that connection with the Driders, because the Driders are significant. But I wanted the Elder Elemental God faction, to have their own thing.
Here's your map.
That actually I cribbed out of, I think, Dragon Magazine.
Yeah.
Right. And then you put the locations in.
And then I put my own key on it.
Right. Okay. So, and then we got our maps here. Crown Button, the Ilserv's estate, with a wall around it. And then the palace is detailed. You got a lot of content here, everyone. I mean, this could take. Here's the hidden shrine map, a slave quarter map, which is good to have. The villa surrounding villas have maps, lots of detail. Notice, and the fan content policy thing is here, so everyone's covered. That's just the first one there. So, yeah,
there's another.
Yeah, there's another one. So, you get so at the end of D3, you get into the Fane. We'll go through all. Just note. All right. So the elf drow, half elf, half drow. Here is my caveat for our worlds, and I've said this multiple times. The mongrels of the putrid tongue in my campaign. The orcs. Orcs can breed with anything except elves. The mongrels' goal was to breed an elf with an orc. They couldn't figure out how to do it. A half elf, half drow is the exception. That was my secret thing. There you go. And that's what they've all. But that is yes, mongrels little. An elf drow can breed with an orc. That was the key, and that is the leader that they bred was half elf, half drow, half orc.
So quarter drow, quarter elf, half.
Yes, that was the key to breed an elf with an orc in our campaign. Yep, the secret of the mongrels. But they lost it when all that that's lost information. And here's all, as you can see, this mess of all the houses, and it tells you their ranks, and it tells you like who they're allied with. All 8. And whenever we do stuff with drow, hint in a week this upcoming Saturday. On a special event, you may found some of these brooches. The Egg of Loth is here. There is the characters neutral with good deeds. I think they say to them.
Yeah, that's actually in the dungeon level number 3.
Okay, here it is. Yep, here he is right here.
Nulanim.
Nulanim. There it is. Yeah. He has a neutral alignment with a slight tendency toward good deeds. I guess that's as good as they wanted to make any drow.
Yeah.
Hey, April. No, not after last night. Not after last night. Thanks, Patrick, for doing that for Big Mac. All right, so the one thing I don't like about this is that they go, because it was in 78. If you go through that portal, you're slain unless Q1's out, right? That's what it says. So. By the way, Joe, I know it's already 9. You okay?
I can go for a little bit longer, sure.
Okay, just want to make sure. Anna, you're good?
Yep.
Because we already went through the 2 hours, everyone. So, Mesodemons.
Still gotta make dinner.
Yeah, we're gonna burn through this. Mesodemon, Nycademons. Here's your Shrine of Koatella. They're all in D3. D3 is a great module. Joe has expanded on it with D4, so now you have it. Okay. Here we go. Now the one of the most controversial modules of all time is Q1. The Demon Web is cool. The first part's cool. The second one reminds me of the movie Wild Wild West.
The Will Smith movie.
Yeah. And Kevin Smith's got a great a bit on that from Clerks about the Wild Wild West movie. So you get into the Demon Web. Now, this is not written by Gary Gygax. This is written by David Sutherland, who's done most of the artwork with Gary, I guess, assisting. There's 3 levels. It's interdimensional because, look, these things cross each other, but you never change in elevation. You can see the soul. You're on the Abyss. You're on lost 3 levels of the Abyss here. And there's a lot of encounters. And here's the
story is that they found that design on a hotel towel or something.
Really?
Literally, they found it on like a menu. As a decoration on a border of a menu, and that's what they wanted to use as a thing. Gary complained about that vociferously.
So these monsters are the pedipalpi and they're in here. So they're a bunch of freaking oyster, whatever they are, crab men or crab things. I
think they're whip spiders.
Is that what they are? Whip spiders? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's lost spaceship. That's kind of where it goes off the realm. Everyone loves this picture.
That's a terrific piece, though. That Dave Sutherland piece right there.
Yeah. Is that David's signature?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know who. I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not sure who did that picture. So, whip scorpions. All right, so we keep on going through here. Now, there's encounters on the levels. You find some driders, some people going through tests, all sorts of things. This shows all the spells that don't work on the Abyss. So you have a lot of trouble here. You can't get back. Clerks only get first and second level spells because your deities can't get in touch with you. It's kind of nasty. It shows about the overpasses. Here's more artwork, and it gives you a lot of encounters.
And almost all the encounters are trying to fool you into thinking that they're actually nice people.
Yeah. This guy Troz is like, Troz is a good guy, but all the things they're werewolves, right? They're all female werewolves in here,
or jackal wares or something.
Yeah, wolf wares, which are even worse.
Yeah,
yeah. So going through all these encounters, you're not missing anything through all them. They're just encounters. But we'll get to the level of we go to the fourth level. Let's go through there. This is where this adventure, I think, is groundbreaking. And that is, there's Joe. What's here?
This is where the gates to all the other worlds are that Wolf is either invading or about to or whatever.
Yes. So if Alan or a couple of my players are here, here's the Kingdom of Sayre CD, which is one of my favorites right off the bat, and this is land. Neutral evil tendency elves rule this land, and they're the Pharisee elves, and they have dwarves enslaved. Dwarves, orcs, gnomes, and kobolds are enslaved here. So yeah, we've gone here. In fact, there's an NPC in my campaign who fled Sayre CD and is now in Greyhawk from here. So this is a neat. You can do a whole campaigns here on these other alternate prime material worlds, which is really cool. The Frozen Lands is another one. The Great Ocean. Where's Kevin Costner when you need him? So it's just Waterworld, guys and gals. The Black Fen, a huge swamp area.
There's one that's like all bones, right?
What's that?
There's one that's like all bone.
Yeah, the Labyrinth. This is just where they throw prisoners. This is a labyrinth you can't get out of. That's a nasty one. That's a cool one though.
That's where she breeds the spiders.
Yep. Labyrinth Arachne. Malda, this is a Dwarven Kingdom. This one's kind of cool. Everything's pointed looking. The Night World of Vlad Tolenkov. Ravenloft. Coming, kind of. This is the first Ravenloft idea is here. Where it's perpetually dark in twilight. There's no sun. Loft's Prison, this is just a little planetoid with the Bone Colossus Guardian guarding, what's his name? Trinax the Cleric is just in almost like a prison of Zagig here, is stuck here. You got to get him out. So, yeah. And that's, and then you have the Spider Ship of Loth as the last one.
Oh, the Spider Ship.
Yes.
Yep.
Gonna scan through this real quick. You're basically on a bug hunt through here, literally, trying to catch Loth at the end. And there's a lot of chaotic things going on in here, all sorts of, because it's on the Abyss. So random weird things are happening all the time. You're fighting the Pedipalp. You're fighting, there's a white dragon here, right? I believe. Driders are here. So it's just...
Lol's Jammer.
Yeah. You have a Gorgamera with or is it a Shimmer with the goat head is the main one. Ettins, all sorts of other things. Just I don't know. Yes,
it's a mess. Is what you're.
It's a mess.
Because the big question is, why are you here?
Yeah.
What does this have to do with anything that you've just spent the last 7 modules doing?
Right. Not much. So, but here you go. Drider, Pedipalp. There are the creatures. Sulfagids, scorpions, all sorts of stuff they've added on beyond the spiders. The Yokels are cool. And remember, Yokels are in the Drizzt novels. The Yokel kills Wolfgar, if I recall correctly. The Yokel, I always loved this, the Handmaidens of Loth. I think that's a great one. All right, so let's go to something that's kind of improving this. Another free download from Joe. Okay. Alternate replacement module. I love that.
Right, where D4 is intended to be done in conjunction with the others, this is a straight up replacement. You use this one instead of Queen of the Demon Web Pits.
Completely.
And what this does is it restores the plot line of the Elder Elemental God. Because originally, Gygax's conception was Lolth had the Elder Elemental God imprisoned, or at least she had the key to the prison. So the reason you went to her plane was to finally seal the prison of the Elder Elemental God. That's why you went there. Was because his prison was open a crack, which is how he was able to send out his energy and power the Isle serves and thus do the giant raids. If you sealed his prison, he wouldn't be able to do that anymore, and your mission would be accomplished. In this, however, you also find out that Lolth is on the verge of invading the Flonesse in multiple different places. So in the course of exploring the Web of Souls, you will find out that, oh my God, we have to stop them both.
Oh, nice.
And then you also you find out how to do that. Basically, the kicker is you're supposed to maneuver Lolth to the prison of the Elder Elemental God, shove her in, and then close the door.
So you capture both.
Right. And that way you stop the Elder Elemental God's stuff, you stop her from invading, and that's how you're supposed to do it. And you can see, I used some of the worlds from the other place as fodder in here.
Good. Cool.
And in fact, in that one world, she's already conquered it. And if somewhere in the description there, I say, and you see the ruins of a gigantic metal spider.
So they destroyed it as she was attacking it.
Yeah, she used it to attack there, and it was wiped out. So I wanted to put in that little
homage to the original.
Little homage there. And one of the things is there's a big black ball that's over Istvan, and that's one of the things she's about to do is attack Istvan by dropping the big ball on it, and that's from the Silver Anniversary mod.
Right.
So I wanted to throw in those little nods to them, while even at the same time I was replacing the thing that I hate.
That's great. That's a great idea. Yeah.
And there's demons who are renegades who are hiding from Lolth and her things, and you can actually ally with the demons to help them escape, and then they'll help you. And there's allies that you can get, and they'll help you not only find out what you need to do, but also help you
Look at this Neil draw gate.
Yes,
a gate back to Greyhawk.
There's a couple of gates back to Greyhawk. Those are the gates that she's going to invade through.
Oh wow, that is cool.
So rather than them just going to random worlds, I tie it back to Greyhawk, and that's what gives the player characters their actual incentive.
Okay. Nice. That's cool. There's the Night World gates. You have that in here. Volatile and color.
Yeah, she's actually using the troops from the Night World to attack the other places.
Okay.
Like half of the gates are to her training grounds and her staging grounds, and the other half are to the places she's going to invade. And that's the idea that the players make that connection. It's like, oh my God, there's going to be this huge invasion of vampires into Neol Dra or whatever.
It's definitely an improvement. It makes
thank you.
Yeah,
it's a lot more, but thank you.
So, did you run this, Joe?
Yes, I play tested it. It's not easy.
What level is you recommending this? 12th?
I think it's like 13th, 14th. It's
wow, that's high in old school, man.
Yeah.
And there's some cool monsters in it too. I love the Servant of the Eye, and that graphics is fantastic.
Lost Matron, Type 5 Demon, Final Anomaly.
The Final Anomaly is the prison of the Elder Elemental God.
Okay. And so you got okay. So how did it end in your campaign?
They got wiped out.
They got.
Yeah, and it wasn't in my campaign. I ran it as a special session, but yeah, they got zonked.
So
they weren't supple.
Heroes lost, but that's okay. That's
well, they need feeding. The monsters need feeding. Yep.
So you have a lot of stuff here, and we got some new spells too. Got the elemental power gems that Joe's talking about that you need.
Yeah, I wanted to make the connection between the elemental power gems from Temple of Elemental Evil and this.
And so
the idea is they're the common theme throughout the whole thing. The objects that are in Lolth's egg are the power gems.
Okay. Here's your web of souls. How you have it set up. A lot differently.
And it actually looks like a spider web.
Yeah, a lot differently than.
Amazing.
Yeah,
a web that looks like a
hotel towel. Oh my gosh.
And it's a 3-dimensional thing too.
Right.
There's 3 levels.
Wow. That's cool. Lots of work here. Oh, look at this. It shows you where the points are of entry. That is cool, dude. That is awesome. Showing you where the entry points are. All right, so this is G1. I'm assuming lower level 6 G1. Lower level, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because look, here's a G2. Yep. All right. So no, that may be G3. It could be either one of them. All right. Awesome. Gorna, Neildra, Isvin, Lothwick. Bye-bye. Oh, look at this. You got Vernon Vincent noted here. That's great. Goblins, David Babbitt. Is that Patreon people?
Yes. Yeah, those are my Patreon
very
supporters.
Cool. Very, very cool. How long did it take you to do this?
Years. I was literally writing this for years. I restarted it like 4 times from scratch. I've been talking about it forever. And once I made the connection of the elemental power gems with the contents of Lolth's egg, that's when everything started to kind of fit together. But it's been rattling around my mind literally for 5, 6, 7 years. So
I want to say thank you for both the D4 and Q2. I think they're fantastic, and I think you've really done the community a service. For breathing. I know you how many years ago have you done these? 5, 10?
No, these were recent. These were last year, I think.
Really? Yeah. That's awesome. So note, this gives you an idea. Maybe you want to go back, and maybe you don't have to run all of the GD. You could start someone in D3 if you want. They've saying that they've gone through, or that they've come back, or something. I mean, you don't have to go through the whole thing to run these, and that's a great thing. I mean, a D3 you could be in there forever. And its entirety is its own campaign setting, and that's where and that's a wonderful thing. So they're great.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
There's also a G1A that does the secret under dungeon level.
Okay.
There's in G1 they mention there's a bunch of tunnels under here that have like no treasure, but there's a lot of monsters, and then you just mention it. So I did it.
Nice. And you also did something for Temple of Elemental Evil too.
I did a T0. It's the journey to Hamlet, where the PCs are going from the Wild Coast to Hamlet through the gnarly forest, and they're going in a caravan, and that's when they get their first idea that there are different bands of bandits, that hopefully start them thinking in their mind, there's different factions in the temple. I'm very vested in giving the DM opportunities to give the PCs information. And
there's also a T5 though too, isn't there? Beneath the temple?
T5 is an actual Temple of the Eye below the Temple of Elemental Evil.
Okay, awesome. So, and real quick, because I know we're way beyond time. Anyone have any specific questions on anything from the whole series? I know we went over 7 adventures. Well, actually 9, considering 2 of Joe's. So we went over a lot tonight.
Yeah.
My voice is starting to go too, but that's all right. Note that there is a lot to digest here.
Mm-hmm.
We're having the good old days, do a dungeon, go and clear it out, level up, move on. That still is around. There's nothing wrong with that, Orchid. You can still do that, of course. There's nothing wrong with doing that in those series. Absolutely. What are some good references to the Underdark in general, thematically, description-wise, and so on? Huh. Do you have an answer to that, Joe? On it's a cast of these questions. What are some good references for the Underdark in general, thematically, description-wise, and so on?
We talked about that like a year ago or something. We talked about various drow things, and we talked about the Underdark and a lot of different modules. And you had a lot of different. We showed things that even if couple of Forgotten Realms stuff and so on, just to get the thematics from.
Yeah, there's that Night Below is
yes,
that
exactly. Night Below has cool stuff, and there's various, it depends. And also, if you want to dig into the 3rd edition era, there's a lot of stuff that are thematic kind of for the Underdark too, but it depends a bit on. And if you run 5th edition, then you should look at every old edition to mine for thematic cool stuff, so to speak, and then convert it to 5e.
One thing that I found interesting, though, just it's kind of trivia, but they never call it the Underdark.
Exactly.
In these modules, it's the Underworld.
Yeah.
Underdark is a Forgotten Realms thing.
Yes, it is.
It came later, and then
And in fact, in Arduin, they call it the Worm Road.
Oh, that
which
is
I think is just such a
name.
wonderfully evocative
That
name.
is a fantastic name for it.
It's the same idea, just lots of tunnels and stuff under the earth. But I love that name, and I like the idea that every world has its own name for that.
Oh yeah.
Of course, then they just started using Underdark for everything. So.
But it's
Patrick asked you how many cats you have.
2 cats, 1 dog.
There you go.
1 whole python, bunch of other reptiles and lizards.
Mediocre Bart says Worm Road reminds me of Caius, but it's WYRM Road, not WRM, right?
It's in Arduin. I think it's WORM.
Is it WRM? Okay, I thought it was like worm, like a dragon. Okay.
Yeah, dragons, worm like
okay. Dragons are preferably, I think, living where there's room to maneuver, so to speak, and fly. Really old school, the dragons were always in the basement.
Although I do like shadow dragons.
Yes,
I do too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, shadow dragons are my favorite. Shadow and abyssal dragons are my favorite ones. They are the nastiest ones ever. Yep.
So we've gone.
I get a whole set of undead dragons.
Mm-hmm.
In
you can
Adventures
mix
Dark and
all
Deep.
3. Yeah, if you want the ultimate dragon horror, you mix a shadow, an abyssal, and undead dragons.
Yeah, because there's like a zombie dragon, there's a vampire dragon. There's I did a whole basically a dragon for every kind of undead.
You mix them up, so to speak.
Yeah.
So and in my take, Ayus has 2 abyssal shadow dragons that are a mix of abyssal and shadow dragons as his personal protectors of Doraka and stuff. So they are some of the nastiest things in my campaign. Yeah.
I'm trying to put these in the right order here, and I'm having problems, but I think I got it. So let's do some quickie shout outs. So Joe, what else you got going on you want to shout out?
Well, my next book, I kickstarted. It's called Swords of Cthulhu. And it's basically an old school 1st edition supplement with Lovecraftian horror. That should be coming out this fall. The art is coming in even as we speak. I'm still pumping out videos on my video channel. I'm still doing a lot of free downloads on the blog every week. And I'm doing a set of quarterly adventures that are not quite set in Greyhawk. They're actually set in the same continuity as Carlos's modules.
Oh, cool.
We use the same names.
Oh, he gave you the cross-reference chart?
We've been working on it together.
Good.
And
cool.
And this is the one that's coming out in August on mine. It's
nice.
Into the Great Rift. So look forward to that in a month.
Smart move. Fantastic.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice. Are you publishing it separately, or are you putting it on Carlos's site?
No, it's just all mine.
Okay.
That's actually being published through BRW.
Good.
Okay.
Fantastic. Is Cthulhu for 1st edition of Call of Cthulhu?
It's strictly Lovecraft. So there's nothing from Clark Ashton Smith. There's nothing from any of the other authors. Mostly for copyright reasons. So everything is really different than what you're going to see in Call of Cthulhu. And I love Call of Cthulhu, but this is not that. This is So, it's D&D has its own tropes and its own expectations, and I worked the Lovecraft stuff into those mechanics for first edition, and it came out great.
Excellent. Well, Joe, thanks for coming on, giving us some great insight, and letting everyone know you have these two multiple publications for share, and they're free download, and that is so generous of you, and we really appreciate the discussion. Yeah. Well, Dale, it's just Great Rift. I assume it's a Rift Canyon.
I just make an assumption. Too, so yeah, we made an assumption here.
We'll make an assumption that it is.
Look, it's it's the Great Rift. It's a completely original thing, like
yes,
gotcha.
And
gotcha.
Yes, it is.
And Nikki Nouse.
So Anna, are you gonna try and stream again Friday?
Yeah, I'll try again, and I'm so sorry that it didn't work out. And I'll skip the shout outs and wait until Wednesday for that.
Awesome. Yeah. It sounds good. Real quick, we got a ton coming up this month. All right, this week upcoming, 4 streams. Wednesday night, Les Oblivion Seeker joins Anna and me because Mike is off. Orcs of Greyhawk and their kin. Okay, that'll be our discussion on Wednesday night. Thursday night, the Night Stalkers in a one-shotter because I got something special the week after, which I didn't even get the banner done for it. And Rumble in the Warehouse. All right. If you all know, I have that 2-foot-long Gamescape 3D warehouse that he's like, you'll never use that. That Bill did up from Games. We're using it Thursday night. It's gonna be just exactly. It's a one-shotter, so and that'll be in the Free City of Altamira. Saturday, this is a monster. I got Lady Lavinius and Crane Wrights both in the game, first time ever, with Darling, Bones, Mike Disney, and Taryn, and the new recruits. They have a name adventures, the Hunter. It's actually the Drow Hunter.
Oh,
okay. I didn't want to give that away. Crane's character is a specialty priest, and it's in a Dragon magazine of Arlith the Therinal, who's an elven god of light and is a Drow Hunter god, which was in one of the publications out of Dragon. And so, yes, that's how the adventure is going to kind of start off. So it'll be interesting and a fun one. So you're going to see Drow on Saturday coming up, the ironies. Sunday, if I don't have a special guest, there's still a chance. Anna and I will we'll find someone else. We're going to do the B's and C's on the Wall of Fame. Keep on the Borderlands, Bone Hill, and then the C's, Ghost Tower, and Hidden Shrine of Tomoka. And we'll get through those next week. If I don't have a special guest, I'm still trying to work on that.
Not In Search of the Unknown?
It's not on my list. You know why? I never ran it. You know why? I didn't want to have to play stuff myself when I was a kid. I'm like, I'm not running this. We'll discuss.
You can run it now.
Yeah, I know. I got some other stuff. I'm going to run Carlos's great Sly Keta adventure shortly. We're going to talk about. We may talk about Palaces, Silver Princess, and Search the Unknown, and a couple other Bs as well that are pretty good. Keep on going. A week from Wednesday. Enough of this. Enough of Twitter is driving me freaking crazy. Yeah. Mike is going to be on, and we may have another guest. That Vecna, a true Greyhawk legend. We're going to tell all of you the real story of Vecna. Okay, that's what we're attempting to do. That's a week from Wednesday on July 20th. All right. So Mike's got the comic, the graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got one.
Awesome. I don't. That's one of the things I don't have. So, but Mike does. So I had to wait till Mike's on. That will be on the 20th. Then the 30th, we think it's still on. I've been talking to Ed. Ed's wife passed. So,
yep.
Oh God, Dale, please see, Dale, you're poking your own bear there. So, I'd like to, Scottish. It's just tough to get. It's tough to get. I've tried to get. I had Alan on once. Harold Johnson, I've never had on. I'd love to have them both on. Ed Greenwood back, 2 drink minimum. The voice actor from Mass Effect, Mark Meir, Tony, Eric Boyd, Eric Mengy hasn't confirmed yet, but yeah. So yeah, Ed's wife passed a few weeks ago, and Ed's still down in the dumps, so we'll see. So and
it was only a few days ago, I think.
No, it actually happened a few weeks ago, and he didn't let anyone know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's do the giveaways real quick, and then we'll get out of here. 2 winners here, last call. All right. Putting that off. I'll need your full name and address. If you win, tell me you got G1, the G series, D1, 2, D3, and Q1 all in reprint. All right. And then we're going to rate it into Darling. We still have 130 people on. Awesome. Thank you.
Wow.
Yep. This was a great one.
I'm a big draw.
Yes,
you are.
Yes. Robert Hartley's raid really helped, and a lot of people stuck around, and we really appreciate it. So here we go. I'm going to close this out and get our winners. I'll get this right out. See this? This is the new Lord Gazumba color shirt. Now they're all on this site, and you can all sign. Virtual GrowCon is coming. Joe will be part of the Ask the Experts closing show on that Sunday night, October 2nd. But they are on the site with shipping is included in the price. The sizes were wonky. I couldn't get like larges. I could get medium. It just was bizarre. Gaetano got the first one. And it's going out to you tomorrow, Gaetano. So I got the lime green now and the violet on there. And Ann and I will get out the artwork of the ode to Bone Hill shortly, and we'll get that T-shirt made up for it as well. All right, let me close this out. And we'll get out to here, and I'll see you all Wednesday night for regularly cool.
And if anybody is going to be at Historicon in Lancaster in 2 weeks, I will be there. Seek me out.
Cool.
Are you DMing?
No. I go there as a player. It's a big miniatures convention.
I know Miniature Building Authority always goes to that one. So if you see Kirk there, say hello. I'll ask him. I haven't talked to him in a bit here. So what the frick am I doing here? Sorry, I got to close this out. Closing. Winner. Celtic Boar. Winner number 1. Winner number 2. 491 Phantom. Celtic Boar, you get your choice of both, of 2. And then 491 Phantom, you get whatever 2. Celtic, you got to tell me which 2. I have both of your addresses, I believe. And congrats. Okay? And I will send these out. Thank you all. Joe, once again, thank you so very much for participating. And I know we went a half hour late, but this was an awesome. Look, I Eat to Surf reading in right now. Look, we're just finishing up Eat to Surf, but it's good to see you. And thank you so very much. See you all Wednesday night as we keep on 4 streams this week, and we're gonna have a fun time. And just keep it going, everyone. There's a lot going on in the community. Go to Joe's site and please subscribe there. It's free to subscribe, correct? On your blog, Joe?
Correct. And the YouTube channel is also free.
And Joe gets a lot more views than I do on YouTube. So go. No, seriously, YouTube is Joe gets some great hits on YouTube. So please check out his vids on YouTube. It's fantastic. So, well, good. So we're going over to Darling Creep Show. Everyone have a great night. See you Wednesday. Jay's going to hit the wrong button. So, yeah, Joe's got some great 5e stuff, too, that we talked about in an earlier Gabbin with Joe. It's all showing all that stuff. Or maybe in Legends of Lore.
Yeah, there's a ton of 5e Greyhawk stuff in the free resources.
I hit the wrong button. Yes. Exactly, Lee. My YouTube is a repository. Absolutely. Jay hit the wrong button. I'd love to see over 100 going in. Let's see what we get. Or 94, 98. Oh, 101. Yes, 103. Awesome. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon. Wow, a rate of 100 going in. Holy schmolies.
Yep.
She'll be happy.
Well, thank you both very much.
I'm sorry to keep you late, man.
I got to go make